All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is an emergency live stream for probably the biggest trade of the offseason so far. Um, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Knicks have acquired Mikal Bridges from the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for their 2025,
Everything.
their 2025, 2027, 2029, and 2031 unprotected first round pick and a protected Bucks first round pick. Uh I don't know how to feel.
To,
I don't
well,
know how to feel.
my gut reaction is definitely like they overpaid 100%,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And that doesn't mean it's automatically a bad trade, right? Like it's a the question. The first question is like, okay, did they overpay? Yes, because he's really good, but this is like Devin Booker number of picks because it's 4 first and a swap. Uh, so that's a lot. So then it becomes a question of like, all right, what's the bet here, right? And the bet with Mikal, like, I've been joking on the TL, but not joking that Dante is better than him for like the whole year because he was better than him this year. But the bet with Mikal is that like he checks back in, right? And stops trying to be like a fucking ball don't stop Padawan apprentice like he was in Brooklyn and goes back to like actually trying to hoop to win. So I mean it's a reasonable bet. It's a reasonable bet. I don't see how someone like Mikal could come to the Knicks and just fucking lollygag it, you know? So I get it. But shit, man. This crazy, bro.
Yeah, this is
Yo, you
probably
know what's the craziest part about it? The craziest part about it, apparently, I didn't read all the Woj tweets or whatever, but he did the thing. Mikal did the thing that we've been waiting for
yeah,
someone to do
do which is like
and just say,
trade me
I
to the
don't want to go
Knicks.
anywhere but the Knicks. That was crazy. I didn't know Mikal
Had that
had
kind
it
of
in him,
juice.
yo.
I
He said it with his chest. That's,
I mean,
he
do you
I
think
basically
that's
said
respect
just
that.
do you think that's just the Knicks leaking that to save face a little bit? Because four unprotecteds tell me they didn't really have that much leverage, and Brooklyn probably would have just sent him to wherever they got the best offer anyway.
I mean, the leverage for them is kind of like, well, you don't really have a pathway to trading for him once you make all these moves. Like, or rather, signing him once you make all these moves. Like, you have to wait for him to be available. Like, they don't have free agency to use in trade. Like, I don't think you could actually threaten a side in trade. And if he's like, I want to go to the Knicks, then it's like, okay, well, rob the Knicks for all you can get. So, I I don't know how to feel about this because I'm like, I get it, the vibes are great, but also,
He just better come in hooping. None of this lollygagging shit from the Nets, bro. I need that Mikal Bridges that I passed up on in fantasy basketball 2 years ago, who was averaging 29 a game and fucking just
You
looking
have
like the second coming of George Gerving.
so you're telling us that if you draft him this year, you are giving the Knicks a death sentence, but if you don't, we go to the Canyon of Heroes.
I'm not playing. I'm about to just not play fantasy basketball.
No,
I don't
you
want to endanger any of this.
you have control here. You have to play and not pick him. Clearly, it's science.
also, what's I think what also got caught up in the news is when the Knicks made this trade, it's apparently come out that Isaiah Hartenstein is unlikely to resign with the Knicks.
That was what Ian Begley said. So this is the first thing Ian Begley has said with his chest in like 4 months. So maybe he's got something here. I still want to see
Woj came out and
who is
Woj came
going
out.
to spend. Woj said it.
Woj said it as well.
All right, that means they probably know somebody's about to give him the fucking bag.
Yeah, so I can't think of what team like the Magic
I don't know. I mean,
are are the
Memphis? I don't know.
I can't think of so then. I mean, if it's gonna be Memphis, since it's a side in trade,
They don't have
uh,
to out right.
huh?
They don't have
What's
the cap
up?
put out right.
Memphis, yeah, they don't have the cap for it. Memphis doesn't have the cap for it.
So would they give up 9? That's what Shun was talking about in the last pod. Like, would they give up 9 to get? I mean, he said he was talking about Mitch, but obviously, if you do it for Mitch, you do it for Hartenstein, right?
I could see the 3 teams that I always heard people talk about for iHeart were the Thunder, the Magic, and Memphis. So if it's a sign and trade or something, I can see any of those teams getting in it. But like, this is another piece of the puzzle that is definitely gonna unfold in the next like 24 hours. Like, we will probably know what's up with that.
Well, the Knicks are also hard cap now, right?
Yes, they're hard cap for the first apron.
So would they? Does it? I mean, does it seem like they'll make another trade to reduce salary?
They have to.
Randall would be the most likely candidate, right? Unless it's Mitch. But if they're losing Hartenstein, then probably not Mitch, right?
No, so we're hard capped because we took back more salary in this trade, is what we're saying, right?
I believe so. Yes. Do we know Bojan went out?
Bojan went out.
Bojan was the person that went out. So it was 19 million versus 23. The other question is, could they have like done Diakite and Sims without giving up Deuce? Could they have just?
They could, and like, a lot of the times when they do the tweets about that, they'll leave out like the flotsam players, and then they'll just.
I know what you're talking about, but it's been like over an hour.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
So it sounds like they couldn't do it with just Diakite Sims. That wouldn't get them there, and they don't want to give up Deuce.
Yeah, of course.
So, if it was possible, I would imagine they would have just done it, right? Or found a third team.
We need about 4.4 million to get the Bojan. So to get Bojan plus whatever over the Bridges salary, we need about 4.4 million. Which, if I look at Spotrac really quickly, and totally don't ask you guys to stall while I pull it up. I'll tell you guys what would have needed to go out for us to get there without being a hard cap at the first apron.
I assume it would probably be since they're taking up more than 110% in trade, it would have to be quick maths.
So if we give Daquan, that's 2.46, and if we give Jericho, that's 2.1. So like
they wouldn't give Jericho. I don't think they would give Jericho because I mean
I'll drive Jericho across the bridge myself.
Okay, no, but if you're talking about like being hard capped and stuff like that, or for a roster spot, you probably would want to like minimize whatever. Yeah,
I agree, but also
if you give up Jericho to avoid getting hard capped.
Yes.
Well, if they're hard capped, it means that they gave up like Jeffries or something.
If we gave up Jeffries and Jericho, that's getting us over Bridges' salary in terms of money going out. So if we were to get
okay, from Fred Katz, Bogdanovich for Bridges would meet the Knicks taking on money in this trade, which would hard cap them at the first apron. If they found a way to guarantee Diakite and Jeffries and include them in the deal to Brooklyn, they would not be hard capped. So they probably did that then.
So there you go. I fully believe they did that because also, I feel like since we're going to be venturing into that second apron very, very soon, probably this season,
next offseason.
Next, because iHeart's not coming back. It makes using the picks this year efficiently that much of a bigger deal. And I feel like the Knicks got way more likely to use both first-round picks today. Probably.
Yeah. They're using both.
I
always felt they were using both.
Of joy.
I know, like this is me and Prez's like Nirvana. We
made a trade. We made a trade and kept our draft picks after I wrote 58,000 words. Amazing.
Wait, where's
at least you know next year you don't have to do any of this bullshit, Prez. You don't have to do anything.
I do it for the love of the game.
Yeah,
I'm still doing that shit. Damn. Okay, so
I didn't mean to call it bullshit. Obviously, I enjoy your comment.
Yeah. It is. Sometimes it feels that way, but Nah, it's a. I mean, when it comes to like the reporting, like I'm traumatized from the Detroit Bogdanovich trade, where it was also like an hour before we realized we were getting more than Alec Burks.
Yeah. Tyrese, do you like this shirt, by the way?
Oh yeah, we love
Thank you.
our
I
tribal
appreciate
chief Roman Reigns,
Yes.
and we
Tribal
love
Chief Leon Rose. Our Tribal Chief Leon Rose. One's up for
Leon
Leon
Rose.
Rose.
Our tribal chief Leon Rose. Also, so Jalen Brunson's taking that extension
Yeah.
for sure. Brunson's taking that extension. What do they do with Randall?
Wait, he is? Why do we think that? Or are you just
They
saying the
just traded
vibes
for
are that
his
strong?
best friend.
Also, I mean, not only did we just trade for him, but this also pretty much says we are never trading Dante for any star package. Most likely, Josh Hart is obviously here to stay. So,
Like this
like
is your core.
we know Bridges is going to resign here. I don't like. We are going to go to whatever number it requires to retain OG because we're going to let Hartenstein walk. So it just, I feel like you kind of do this, and Jalen Brunson, being that his godfather runs the team and his dad's like the assistant coach and his agent is Leon Rose's son and all that stuff, like you kind of just take the extension that's below what you could get next year just to help us out. Like, I don't know. Maybe
it's
I'm
probably
Erica working for CAA too now. I saw it on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Erica Brunson. She is.
Yes.
Yeah, she just got a new job at CAA.
Dude, nepotism is so special and so awesome. Let's go.
So like now I think you have to think about McCall extension as well. I mean, he probably extends
About who?
McCall's extension.
Oh, Mikal.
He's extension
He can
eligible this
extend it
year.
this year, right? Yeah.
Yes. So he could extend this offseason as well. You already have Brunson. You already have Dante for another 3 years. You have Josh Hart for another 3 years. Now the extensions you're thinking about post OG are Randall and McCall. Randall's gone. That's my immediate thought. Is like,
I don't think
I think
so.
he's gone. Okay, you are gonna keep Brunson, Randall, Randall, OG, and McCall.
Dude, we're trying to raise banners.
I don't know. Not to mention Mitch is extension eligible too.
That's not happening.
Dude,
Mitch has had a lower body injury. Like how many years?
Okay, but he's gonna be. I mean, he's our starting center again. So,
but I feel like there's no chance it would happen this summer.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, a lot of guys are wanting to get paid now, and I don't know how everybody gets paid. Also, who the hell is going to be our backup center?
So say Mitch goes through the season like 60 games, like which is like relatively good for Mitch, right? Like I could see him getting an extension of some kind, where it's like years valuing more, or years locking in more than some high annual dollar amount, especially with the new money coming in and the cap going up and all that. So like, I wouldn't be tripping over that. As for the backup center spot, like they actually have a lot of things they could do. I've been thinking about this lately because it relates to the draft, right? Like you could bring back Precious. You could. I also think it's not a coincidence that you've seen them kicking the tires on like Goga and shit like that. Or you could just draft a backup center, right? Like I don't think it's a coincidence that they worked out Kel'el Ware. Yeah. And like, I don't think you should depend on a rookie center starting like Dallas did, even though it worked out for them. But as a backup, that's probably fine.
I also think maybe we kind of do a similar deal with Goga to what we did with iHeart. And by that time, 2 years' time.
That's true.
They got the center we draft is ready to go. And I also think if we do have leftover money in that taxpayer mid-level exception, if we give that to Goga to help fill out this roster, I wouldn't be surprised if, I know we said it earlier, we're more likely to keep the picks that we have. I think we're way more likely to at least trade up from 38 and one of those other picks to move up 2 or 3 spots to secure a center. And just from Keith Smith, the Knicks are $45.2 million under the first apron, with 8 players currently under contract and accounting for the 2024 first round picks. So you have to sign 6 guys with that $45 million. I don't know for offhand if he included Daquan, Diakite, whoever else may be going out. So that 45.2 might change a little bit. But you are essentially going to be dropping in OG at around 35, maybe more. And then you're going to have to get sorry, I said 6 before. It's 8 plus the 2 picks, so that's 10. With OG, it's 11. You have to get 3 guys for somewhere around, I think, $8 to $10 million of space.
So
I
2
think
guys, because Ryan Arcidiacono is coming back for sure.
Ryan Arcidiacono is coming, and he will take the smallest contract possible.
Yeah, you
So-
gotta bet him in.
Yeah. So that's where we stand right now. I think we're still in a great spot. Like, we might have the deepest team in the NBA. We still have a ton of we could realistically also trade out of this draft at 24 or 25.
No, they need players. They need players.
Yeah, like I totally think they do, but I don't think it's unrealistic for them to be like, okay, we just shipped off 5 picks. What if we can try to like leverage a team that really wants to get some type of cheap production that doesn't have a pick later on?
Brother, we have no roster spots. We kind of need those picks.
Yeah, maybe bad idea. You're right.
Probably, I think I don't think it would be all 3, but you probably have one like main pick and then another kind of like flyery, longer term pick, right? That could be like
Right.
a Mogbo, a Dunn, somebody, like a late first, early second rounder.
You sure they
type
take
guy.
it done now?
Probably. I mean, if
More like-
other teams are like super high on him, then yeah, guys, go ahead, draft Ryan Dunn 19th. Not the Knicks, but like whoever else, like go crazy. I don't know what team is just thirsting to have this no offense guy. Like there are teams that have a they could wait a year or 2, but it's not a lot of them. So I don't know.
Does this make it more likely they bring back Jokubaitis? They
No.
need the roster spots, or
Well, I mean, you could probably bring like Jokic for like the second round exception. So like he starts.
I mean, that is a cheap player.
I would
with
not
the
be
second round
surprised.
exception.
I could see the Knicks probably buying like a second round pick in this draft and like just signing somebody for roster space.
Where my mind goes to with that is you have 9 spots solidly filled out. You have the starting 5. For now, we'll put Mikal in there just because the trade just happened. And
Well, he's going to be starting. It's not in
Sure.
my mind.
Sure. So then you have Deuce, Dante, Hart. You're gonna have a center. Is Rokas fitting in there? Is he gonna like? I don't see that, especially with the rookies that.
Then again,
I mean,
I
could
mean-
he stay next to
well,
Deuce?
aren't we assuming they
I
lose
mean, they
Einhart right now?
They still don't have a backup point guard. Not that they don't like need. It's not like the highest priority thing, right? Like backup center is way more important to me, right? Because you can you can have Mikal and
but you can
You can
squeeze
bet
him
on
in.
some growth from Deuce, and
yeah,
can Mikal be the bench babysitter? I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
question. That's really
Yeah.
what I wanted to ask you, Prez. Also, is like we've
I have
seen
no
him as
idea.
the top dog on a shitty team, and we've seen him as an ancillary. Can he be in that in between? But we can shelve that, I guess. If
I mean that's a good question. Maybe
I would argue probably like I could see them probably getting a backup point guard now because now they have the wings. I think the biggest thing for
they
the
like
biggest thing for-
Kolek.
yeah, they do like Kolek. So like, do you trust? I mean, if you're thinking of like
He can
bench
play
backup-
backup. He can play backup point guard. Like this is like we were talking about this in the Strickland draft Discord channel earlier. Like I don't think anybody likes the Knicks using a first round pick on Kolek, but it's not because he can't be a good backup point guard. It's just because people like using first round picks on more
upside.
upside.
is he a meaningfully better day one backup point guard than Deuce, even
Yeah.
3 months in?
I think so.
Okay,
In terms of like actual like point guard stuff, yeah.
Yes.
In terms of like
But if you
overall NBA player,
yeah, because
no.
like when you think about that role, it involves shot
Right.
creation. It involves Deuce, for all his flaws, doesn't turn the ball over, and can make simple reads. He just doesn't deal well with ball pressure. I think overall you'd still want the ball in his hands more than a rookie.
And he would get it, and he would get the ball in his hands too. That's the thing. Like this isn't like is Deuce in the corner or is Deuce Helio the bench unit, right?
I would want the ball primarily in Deuce's hands, even if Kolek has better quote unquote point guard skills, especially as a rookie. I don't know that you would still have him be the on ball guy. And I understand it's not as binary to your point, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Deuce definitely can get buckets. I don't know if he's like, even in his like playoff scoring bursts, it's not like he was out here like getting buckets off the pick and roll, right? Or like diamond off the pick and roll. He was just I'm splashing like crazy.
He was 90th percentile in the playoffs. It was a low, like, see that's like, I don't actually worry about him as much in pick and roll or even like the vision. I worry about ball pressure the most with Deuce because like that's where he really seems to struggle. Like TJ was obviously giving him hell, but like I don't mind him in pick and roll. He can't do anything in ISO. I like it hasn't been a high sample, and maybe there's so many opportunities because he's tentative that he hasn't had. That's like a survivor bias thing, but
yeah, it's a good question. I think what they do will tell us the answer, right? Like if drafting Kolek or bringing Rokas can also be a hedge because like you can play those guys. You don't want two short guys on defense, right? Like that's the other reason I'm kind of like not crazy about Kolek because then you're two guards off the bench or 6'1", but they can both shoot the shit out of the ball. So like if Deuce does have the ball, like Kolek is going to be fine spotting up. So
that's kind of what makes the case for Rokas, though, right? Because he's 6'4", he's a little bigger, probably a little bit more seasoned as a.
Plus, he's cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper, pure point guard. Will he want to come over for like basically Malachi Flynn minutes? Is that fair to say?
I mean, if like, I think now that he has a role, yes. I
in theory, yeah, but like the Kolek smoke has made me doubt. And I want a quick tangent. Somebody in the chat said, "Did this trade make me sick? I sound like I have a bad cold." That is because I have a bad cold, but I'm not going to sleep after all this shit went down. So here I am.
I have a presentation for my internship in 2 days.
Prez is treating his antibodies like Tibbs treats his players.
I'm gonna go into work sounding like Tibbs if we keep this shit up for another hour or something like that. But yeah, I mean, like initially it seemed like Rokas, the stars were aligning for him to come over, right? Because his minutes were drying up because he's stuck playing behind like old ass bums like Ricky Rubio, and we don't have a backup point guard. But then they had all the interest in Kolek, so I'm like, maybe they don't trust him, which is reasonable. I can say I think they should bring him over from my fucking computer over here, but like it is what it is, right? If they have a different eval.
So apparently Josh Hart had the FaceTime open and he took a picture with everybody on FaceTime, which is hilarious.
Well, at this point, they might as well fucking do like one of these like Netflix reality whatever shows and just.
I mean, they basically had just tampered with it for like a year and a half, and it worked.
If I don't get a TV show out of this, bro.
God,
I mean, forget a TV show, dude. They're gonna get immortality in the city if it works out. Like it's better than a TV show.
I mean, this is better than RJ, Zion, and Cam, and fucking
dude.
Trey Jones.
I mean, like listen to what we're talking about. There, we're talking about a fat ass, a dude who can't dribble, and a dude who's out the league almost.
Which one is RJ Barrett?
All of them.
Exactly. I will always get a shot in an RJ Barrett, baby.
By the way, the most chaotic draft outcome would be if we got word that iHeart was gonna sign somewhere else, and then the Knicks didn't take Ware but took Edie. That would be like maximum internet chaos.
That would be. I'm not gonna. That would be cool though.
I would be fucking like I've been telling people like I started out anti Edie. I became Edie curious.
You're Edie pilled now?
I might be eating. I mean, I like Ware too. I like all the bigs in this class, to be honest.
I think
But
all the
he,
bigs.
like,
I like Missy a
he's a
lot.
big
honestly.
boy, man.
If we need a guy to just be a guy who can play defense day one, I kind of lean Missy there. I don't know if you
Yeah,
feel the
I was
same way,
thinking
Chris,
Missy.
but
Missy was
like I like
I
Ware
mean, I know
for
he's
potential
been
better, but
getting attention from like I saw who was it? I think Rafael Barlow in his draft newsletter said that the Lakers were like super enamored with him. So like people definitely like the centers in this class. Like you got the Nick, you got all these guys are getting attention from teams in the teens, but like they're not all going to get picked in the teens.
When we were talking earlier about salaries, we were talking about ways they could stay below the first apron, right? Or below the second apron. I totally forgot just now. And I'm getting a tweet off on Strickland account.
First apron.
Okay. Gotcha.
Damn, do I want to get a Mikal Bridges jersey?
No, stop. He has to have a moment first.
He has to cook, right? Like you gotta be sure that he's fucking not just like, oh, can I get my invitation to the party? Like, nah, you gotta be out here, bro. You gotta be out here. Like, you're not here to just tag along and be the corniest person in the crew. Like, you're out here to get buckets and lock the fuck up. Also, I need him to like dunk on somebody first.
I need him to take threes, man. I'm none of this midi bullshit.
Too. That's another upside, like theoretical, like low hanging fruit for him. It's just like, God, get your shit up to like 10, 11, 12 threes per 100.
Thank you. Like, if you're going to be Paul George, be Paul George. I mean, this honestly explains, like, the Knicks have worn a kind of wing like that. Like, a kind of Paul George-esque wing. And in many ways, I would say, like, Mikal is baby Paul George. Like, in theory, he's baby Paul George. Where it's like, okay, this guy has the ability to create a little bit. And I think if he just... The thing with him is, like, he's still a good mid-range shooter, but then I think what Brooklyn made him do was like take his mid-range attempts away, and they made him take threes, and he's never been like a big above the break 3-point guy, but he was a good above the break 3-point guy this year. So I mean, I'm wondering,
is the difference pull-ups versus off the dribble for him?
I really do think it's like he just needs to be willing to take them. He was like, I want to say like that season in Phoenix where like Booker and CP got hurt and he basically had like first option reps. A lot of it was just him like cooking in the mid range, and he's a fantastic mid range shooter, like he's always has been. But it's like if you have him and Brunson and Randall and OG and like all those guys are kind of like cooking in the mid range and they'll take threes whenever. Like, you need somebody who can take threes at volume. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, are we sure that like Randall's staying? And you don't want to just like cook with Dante, OG, and Hart, or Mikal on the wing, and then like kind of use Randall.
I mean, as soon as you put Hart in, then there goes your 3-point rate. So
Yeah. So I'm like, man.
But can Mikal play the 4? Even if they don't trade Randall. Given the injury history, I think a Hart extended absence at some point is going to come just because of the mileage and the fact that he has in the past had injuries. Like Mikal Bridges is probably going to have to play the 4 at some point. Do we trust him to do that? Like with the physicality?
I mean, at the risk of going full Stacy pilled, and more accurately, I guess Missoula pilled, right? Like there's going to be lineups out there where like putting numbers on the positions probably is not even helpful, right? Like where like OG might be out there with Julius and OG is the one defending a center, or Mikal in one configuration is defending a 4 if it's a skinnier 4 versus if it's a bigger 4, then yeah, maybe it's Josh Hart instead.
But let's say that Indiana series OG goes out, right? And it's like Dante, Hart, Brunson, and Mikal is your, if you don't want to go with numbers, he is your second largest player, right? Can you function like that?
Yeah, it depends, right? Like if there's a player who like you need, like take Pascal for example, like he's probably eating, whether it's Hart or Mikal. He's too strong for Mikal, and he's too tall for Hart. So in that situation, it just becomes like, all right, man, whoever has him, and then you just try to like make him do stupid shit and fall on the floor and flop and cry and get it back on the other end.
Do they just bring back Precious?
I mean,
I don't
think
see why
that's-
not.
I think they just bring back Precious and they keep.
Wasn't he at the game today?
Yeah,
the
yeah, he was
baseball
at the
game?
yeah, he saw the superior New York team win. It was great.
That better be the only break he's had this summer from taking 1,000 corner threes a day.
Him and Josh Hart needs to be in the lab.
No, Hart doesn't need to do that shit. Hart can do whatever he wants. Precious needs to be taking 1,000 corner threes a day.
But can we roll with Mitch and Precious next year?
Do we got a choice?
I mean, if you do have a choice, right? You can
Goga
draft
stuff.
the center, or you can use part of the exception on like a Goga type or something like that. But Precious wouldn't be like the worst. Like Precious is so crazy because like sometimes you watch him and you're like, is this motherfucker like an all defense center? And then the next day you're just like, is he a soccer player who is playing basketball for the first time? Like, what is happening here?
Well, so in the playoffs when he didn't, this is about 100. I think it was exactly 100 minutes. PBV stats, no garbage time excluded, but the regular season, it worked with him at the center as well. He was the Knicks had a +8 net rating with him as the center.
+8?
Yeah.
Dude, think about the playoffs. Like that matches the eye test, right? Like who like Precious did his. We were all clamoring for more Precious defense minutes, not just against Joel Embiid, but against Miles Turner too. Like
the
he was doing his thing out here. Like
Iheart
did not have a good defensive playoff.
The minutes at the 4 cloud people's judgment because they're like, oh, Precious looked like shit. And it's like, yeah, he's not a 4.
He's not a 5.
He's a 5, but at the 5, he was been pretty good in his Knicks career. Like, yeah, to Prez's point, there are just the awful possessions. But you could have said the same thing about JaVale McGee, who was a pretty solid backup 5.
I feel like they might not be punting on backup 5, but just they're way more comfortable with the Randall at the 5 minutes with OG and Mikal being right next to him.
If you sedate Tibbs, maybe.
I mean, but this is something that Tibbs did. Like he played. Granted, Precious is way more of a center than Randall is, but he played Precious and OG. He had minutes in the regular season where he played Randall and OG at the 4 and the 5. If you go to Tibbs and you say, Tibbs, we got Brunson, we got Hart next to him with Bridges, OG, and Randall at the 5. What do you think about that? I think he would be like.
I do think it'll happen more now. I do think that the fact that we have like 2 very good defensive wings means that you will see a lot more Randall at the 5.
Yeah, it's also because of OG, right? Like this is the thing that kind of when it clicked. Exactly, that's when it clicked for me was when OG was defending Joel. I was like, oh, if we ever do these small ball lineups, Randall's actually not the 5 in them. OG is the 5.
Fair.
He's
that's
the 4,
fair.
Which is like kind of cool.
That's why he'll get
one other thought that I had was, do they think that playing Randall and so that lineup I just said with Brunson, Hart, Bridges, OG, Randall, right? OG's going to play the 5 on defense, quote unquote. Do they think that getting that lineup out there with Randall at the 5 that on offense is kind of supplementing the minutes that Iheart had, where he would kind of handle the ball by the elbow, do his dribble handoffs, do all that other stuff, like with the short roll reads and all that, because Randall can obviously do it. You don't really have a guy who is able to step in right now and play that role. Like, do I think Kelly Ware can be a short roll passer? Like, probably. I'll defer to Prez on that. But
year 1 is tough though for any big.
Exactly, and not only just for that, but he has to do that and be competent on defense and get tougher and understand the game better and hustle and all that other shit that like is a negative against him. So,
Precious showed some of that. I mean, I would go this far, Con. I would say that even if you brought Iheart back, maybe this is the hottest take of the night.
with the roster, assuming you brought iHeart and OG back and everyone that's on it, if you're playing Boston and KP's playing the 5, I almost prefer Randall at the 5, right? If you went Randall, OG, Mikal, Dante, and Brunson, I almost prefer that lineup to Hartenstein, because Hartenstein is going to have problems with KP, but Randall is going to give him way more problems on offense, and they don't have anyone else to match up, really. I mean, they can put Brown, but then you're putting KP on another capable scorer. I almost feel like against Boston, that's the lineup I'd want to run.
I don't like disagree with it at all, and I think that like Randall. This is going to be a separate from the KP point. I just wanted to acknowledge this because we brought up the Celtics. Randall, Hart, Bridges, OG. I mean, there is not a better team in the league who has the wing defense we do. Like this is the best wing defense we've seen in a long, long time.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, aside from Boston.
Yeah, that was it. Like Boston.
I think our wings, like from a depth perspective, are better than Boston's.
Well, is Bridges a better defender?
I just count like Derek White.
Yeah,
I know. I guess
Derek White.
Yeah, I mean, but if you count him as a guard, then I feel like
I'm counting him as a guard. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he is basically
him and Drew. Just like they're their own position. They're just like weird fucking small jacked people.
But you would say our top 2 wings are, because I think OG is a better defender than Tatum.
Yes.
And I think Bridges, I agree with what, like, Bridges' defense is probably a little overrated, but
if he could get that 2021 bag, we're cooking.
Yeah, like he's a better defender than Brown. Thing. I don't think Brown's that good. Like he's really
Brown. It's ironic because Brown, it's very similar to Mikal in that like the whole thing was like once he became a bucket, he was like not always trying on defense, right? And then he occasionally has his like Jaylen Brown CTE stuff on defense as well. But like you saw what happened in the finals where he was like, no, I'm fucking locked in, and he was a fucking animal on defense, right? And granted, aside from Luka, it's you're locking up Derrick Jones Jr. and such shit like that. But like, I would hope that Mikal can get to a high level. Maybe he doesn't got to get to like Derek White, OG Anunoby level. You just got to get to a high level, and like it just makes a huge difference. I remember like versus in the Pacers series, it was. I think the most annoying thing that Halliburton did, and think about that sentence for a minute because that's a long fucking
list. It was definitely the
t-shirt.
Yeah. The Reggie t-shirt to me was.
No, to me that wasn't the most annoying fucking thing he did. The most annoying fucking thing he did was when he hit his shitty fadeaway over Deuce twice and did the too small. And it was annoying because Deuce played good defense, but like, yeah, dude, like you're 6'1", even with long arms, like guys are gonna shoot over you. But like you can't do that over Mikal, right? Like if you're a skinny player, you gotta bully him. That's how you beat Mikal.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the I don't want to say reservations here, but like in terms of does it put us over the top, the biggest question mark still remains who is the number 2, right? So is this either implicitly a bet that Randall can be that number 2 guy and Bridges is your number 3, or this is what I was kind of asking before. Like, what have you seen in Brooklyn and maybe the flashes in other places in Phoenix? And, that would make you think, in this system, I don't know what value you want to assign to the power of friendship, but to the extent that matters, can he step up and be a legitimate number 2, not having to be what he was in Brooklyn, like be the guy, but also not standing in the corner? Because we haven't really seen that, right? But if you believe he can scale that down from Brooklyn, and he's entering his prime, he's what, 26 now, I think.
Mikal's 27.
He's 27. So, but those are it's the age that the Knicks have targeted, which I do think probably made them, gun to their head, more willing to go with this than a better player in Paul George.
We're the opposite Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly
25 and up.
Can he be that guy? And does that give you a little bit more flexibility with whatever we want to do with Randall? Or if you keep Randall, that you don't need him to be that second guy in the playoffs where he's still unproven.
I think he has juice to be like a 20-point per game scorer with like. Here's my barometer. Do you think he could be like a 25-4 guy? with
20
like
is easy, dude. 20 is easy. I
okay,
you could,
okay. Say
I'd
like
be hating on Mikal. Even he could do that.
Well, I mean, look what Dante did, right?
Right.
Went nuclear, and Mikal Bridges can get a shot off from more places. So.
Dude, Deuce McBride as a starter averaged 18 points per game. Mikal can average 20 points per game.
Okay, but like it's
But I would argue Deuce and Dante are better shooters right now, especially when you
Yes,
take into account.
I have
Kenny.
two things. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. All right, am I going? Okay,
Well, I was
that's
just gonna say, like, as Tyrese pointed out earlier, given the volume, I would rank Deuce and Dante as shooters. Definitely Dante, but even Deuce at this point above him as a shooter.
fine. I don't disagree actually. I don't love Mikal as a shooter, but like the defense. I think the defense is going to come back. Schwinn texted me, and I want to share with everybody. He said, "So pumped to pretend I've always wanted Mikal Bridges."
yeah, I know. I had a tweet. I was like, "Why would you trade 4 picks for McCall?" And I'm like calling myself stupid because I'm just like, "Wow, it actually happened."
I mean, it is what it is, dude. Like Mikal's nice. It's just like, yo, you gotta lock in if you came here. That's all I'm saying. It's like he does not have the same length of track record of like Paul George, for example, in terms of just playing at that level. So he did quiet quit on the Nets.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. I mean,
He did.
OG did the same thing where like OG quiet quit on the Raptors, McCall quiet. Like he was playing with Cam Thomas. I would quiet.
RJ quiet quit here, right?
Quiet
Right?
is a phenomenon.
Loud quit. I don't know.
It's. I mean, no. Vince Carter allowed to quit. Like Vince
Grimes
Carter,
loud quit.
Grimes was just ass.
Well, I thought that's what you were going to say about RJ.
No, well, yeah, RJ was it. That's implied. Honestly, that's implied. Yeah, he could hoop it up in Toronto. I don't care. But
my favorite random thing about this trade is at some point Brock was like, "Give us a second round pick."
No, I think they gave us. We gave them their second round pick.
We traded second round. Like we give them a second, but they also gave us a second. I'm pretty sure
They gave us a second.
Just some like random fucking second rounder.
What? When did
Unless
we
I
get a
misread it.
He was like, "Come on, guys, it's not fair unless you give us the second round pick. What are you doing?"
Yeah, we actually did get a second round pick.
How do you know it wasn't Wes?
He's like, "Come on, guys, we're giving you your second. Just give us back a second. Come on."
Wes, this is how the negotiations go. Like Brock is like trying to like finagle second round picks, and then it's like a cop show where like the good cop leaves and the bad cop comes in. That's when fucking Wes comes in and he's just like shirtless and he's like, "You fucking give me a second round pick, all right? You don't know who the fuck I am."
And he's like, Marks, give me the fucking second. Give me the fucking second. And then somehow he's like, "All right, fine. We will give you a first. We will give you a first if you don't give us the second." This makes no fucking sense. Give us the second.
I find it ridiculous now that Alex Caruso went for Josh Giddey. Like, Jesus, man.
Oh yeah, what's because the Bulls are idiots.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about that. How the hell do you acquire Josh Giddey and think it was a good return?
You know how crazy it has to be for the actual reporting to be like, people around the league think the Bulls turned down superior packages from Chicago, from Sacramento and New York to deal with OKC. Like that was part of the reporting today.
If we got Alex Caruso for the package that we sent out for Mikal, I think I'd still be more hype for the Caruso.
Hell no! Dude, if we traded 4 unprotected first picks for Alex Caruso,
Alex
he's
Caruso
30, he's older, and he's not a good shooter. I mean, he's not a volume shooter.
He's bald.
But have you considered that Khan and Alex Caruso might be related, and he's just supporting a family member?
No, Khan's Greek. He's related to Giannis.
Yeah, I am related to Giannis, actually.
Caruso could be Greek, maybe, probably not. That's just middle of the country white.
Also, the funny thing about the second round pick is it's the least favorable of like the Pistons, the Bucks, and the Magic.
The one that we got, or the one that we sent?
The one that we got.
So if it's the Bucks, then it's the Bucks then, or the Magic, maybe. But
yeah, it'll be a 2026 Magic pick, which is whack. So,
well, I did want to ask this. So I don't know what the best offer I can remember hearing that the Knicks turned down for Donovan Mitchell was Mitchell Robinson, Quickly, and RJ Barrett, and 3 first-round picks unprotected. Obviously, they gave up 4. I don't know how much giving up an extra 4th unprotected pick at that. And obviously, you can say at that time, as much as the Knicks believed in Brunson, they didn't know he was, top 10, top 5 player. But in retrospect, would that have been a better deal? Because Donovan Mitchell is obviously a better player, but Bridges gives you that size we were talking about. Curious if you guys have thoughts on that.
I would not have done the deal.
Even in retrospect, knowing that they're going to do this.
Even in retrospect, because if that deal happens, then you don't get Bridges. Not so much you don't have OG if that deal goes through. So it's either Donovan Mitchell or OG and Mikal. I would rather have OG and Mikal.
I don't have a take on that because the timeline was heated up and I didn't listen. I'm sorry. Do you want to repeat that?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was saying if they held firm at 3 unprotecteds and they didn't even want it, even the third they wanted to do top 5.
Yeah.
So if they gave up that 4th unprotected, maybe they keep Quickly. I don't think RJ Barrett was moving many needles in that. I surely think Tyrese would agree in that OG trade. So maybe you could still have done it and also had Mitchell, or you get another wing, but Mitchell is the better player, right? So, given that it's an extra unprotected, I'm curious for not as good a player, same age range, all that, but maybe a better fit.
Oh God, Bill Simmons predicted this too. This what makes it even gross. Bill Simmons said they were going to overpay. Oh.
Bill Simmons, we will bring Bill Simmons to his knees in the Eastern Conference Final season.
Yeah, now we need to beat him.
Don't you worry about that. Stacey, to answer your point, I still think if you're asking which deal I would have done, it's still the OG deal because OG is the second most valuable player on the roster. Is that what the question?
The question is, we traded 4 unprotecteds for Bridges.
Yes.
We could have traded 3 for 3. They said RJ and Quickly. Now, to Tyrese's point, if you did that actual trade, it's tougher to get OG. Although but then it's the value of IQ versus an unprotected in one of those, right? If they'd given an extra unprotected to Cleveland, maybe they could have kept IQ and still traded for OG because I don't think RJ was the big needle mover. So looking back, if it was a choice between these 2 trades, I do think Tyrese's point is that if it outlaws or if it makes the OG trade not viable, then yeah, that's an easy answer. But I don't know that it would. So
I have a question for the panel. I know we got linked to Goga. I am gonna have the nastiest thing spew out of my mouth right now. What about Andre? Okay, pause. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, stop talking because I don't want to hear your Andre Drummond come out of your mouth.
Andre Drummond?
Be serious.
That's a pause too, Tyrese. Hey, yo, hold on.
Okay, not on my show.
That was wilder than what Cod said. You don't want to see Andre Drummond coming
I don't want to
out
hear
his
Andre
mouth?
Drummond.
What?
All right.
Hey, yo.
All right. Okay, when it goes against me, it doesn't work.
Damn, reverse draw 4, bro. That was wild.
Reverse pausing is insane to me, dude.
No, it's not. That was a massive pause.
Again,
anyway,
on my show, bro. I'm kidding. It's our show. Oh my fucking God. What is this team going to be next year? Because I thought I had an idea because I was like, okay, I was Paul George pilled. And I was like, cool. I got the Erykah Badu going. I'm thinking about Paul George and 3-point attempt rate. And now it's Mikal and stiff handle and no sauce, but effective hard nosed
jokes
basketball.
Aside, one thing that I do actually let me look it up before I don't want to deliver misinformation here. So I had a take, but let me check something real quick.
Damn, man.
Yeah, is this handle too stiff to play the 2? Because you're taking Dante, a really good 2-guard, out of the starting lineup, which is good because now your bench is a lot better. But
Yeah, I mean, Dante's gonna get a lot of minutes. It's just gonna be interesting. The whole thing about Dante versus Mikal for me is just like, how do you handle closing time? So that's gonna be on Tibbs to kind of balance. Mikal certainly brings things that you don't get from Dante,
Brother,
particularly
he
on
is closing
defense.
every game. He is closing every game.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be because of his handle, right? Because the ball is in Brunson's hands no matter what anyway.
Yeah, no. I'm just, I was speaking more to like, you know, you don't get the 3-point rate that you get from Dante with Mikal, obviously. But one thing about Paul George, right, that I know Stacey and I had talked about is like, Paul George is awesome, but one of the things you don't get from Paul George is drives. He drives as much as OG Anunoby, despite having 1,000 times better handle. And he doesn't really get to the line like that, I don't think, anymore. So Mikal's definitely not some like rim dynamo or anything like that, but he does give the Knicks both on ball and off ball. Like along with OG, now you have two guys who can just like get the ball and just dunk if they're near the hoop. And Dante got a lot better at finishing last year, but like those acrobatic finishes are always an adventure with him, right? Mikal's just gonna give you a lot of boring, like, oh, I cut, they fell asleep, now I dunked it, the end, like shit like that. So I do wonder if you can get a couple more rim attempts and a couple more free throws out of that 2 spot to help offset, the 3-point rate being just good instead of crazy like with Dante. And they're definitely going to play together too, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that first Nova 4 with like a center, like it might feel like where does Nova play their home games at? Stotts? No, Stotts is UConn.
Isn't it the Palestra?
Yeah, well, whatever it is, it
In
might
Philly.
be special.
Yeah, this man says Stotts like the coach. That's Stores in UConn, bro.
Bro, you think I pay attention to college basketball? No.
He meant Stores, didn't he?
Yeah, I meant Stores. Schwinn here, everybody go home.
It's the Sixers. What up, Schwinn?
What up? We got fucking 3 people without their cameras on. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, like what is that bullshit?
Really?
I'm in bed, lounging, relaxing.
Then get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking shitting me?
Do you want me to turn my camera on?
Yeah, I would
want to
like
see my lovely face.
I think generally on streams that people are watching on like video, they like to see the human beings that are like speaking. So generally, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
I would put my camera on, but then
Tyrese would put his camera on too, except he pretends that his camera is broken when he doesn't want to. He's a fucking loser.
I'm not putting on my camera.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see your bitch ass anyway, Tyrese.
That's fair.
Yo,
so
I'm gonna, now that Schwinn's here, I'm gonna leave. So hello, Schwinn. I'll talk to you soon.
We'll never talk again.
It's definitely not something we do regularly while recording.
Correct.
All right. Later, assholes.
Bye.
Yeah.
Peace.
I don't know why like people are doing the but there's only one basketball thing for us when the Celtics didn't get that treatment. Like,
are people doing that for Mikal Bridges? Is that the concern? The Mikal Bridges.
Bridges needs to touch the ball,
I see people everywhere saying, "Does OG want to be the 5th option in New York, or does he want to be the 3rd option in Philly?" Sounds like an easy choice to me, and I'm like,
I think he just wants money.
What on earth are you fucking talking about? Like,
how do we
that's
we're gonna play a center?
Like, generally speaking, money tends to get people to buy into stuff. And the general consensus of the NBA is it not to, hey, just get paid now and figure it out later. Like, that's like what we've heard forever. So I imagine that what's happening now is what I actually am very curious about. The Knicks could have. What was the difference in salaries here between the two?
So we went over this already. So I'll give a rundown if you so need it.
On the rundown.
Run that down. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mikal is 23.3. Bojan was somewhere around 18 something. I think it was 18.6.
No,
And
he
we
should be
went.
20 because you're doing it in this calendar year. He should still be 20.
I looked it up. It was, I think it was 18.6.
He's a descending contract.
No,
I'm almost
Boyan is 20. What?
Yeah, Boyan's 20.
Boyan is 20.
You checked just now?
Yes, Boyan is
I know
20.
that shit. I'm a loser. These are things I
Yeah,
know.
Boyan is 20, and then next year he's 19.
Okay. No, now I see what you're saying.
His contract,
okay,
not his age.
So if you're going by that, then Mikal is 21.7.
So
not
then
23.
why?
Yeah, so they should.
They
Why are
should
they
just
hard
throw
capped?
fucking Jericho Sims' idiot face in the fucking trade.
I
And
think he's
they're
good
gonna-
guy.
I
Fuck
doubt
him.
The
it.
trade is also. So when does the league year renew? Do we know?
July
The
1st.
first.
But I think
Okay.
what they've done is they're basically like, okay, these trades that happened before the league year turns, you don't get to like duck the rules because of that. So like you're
Yes.
that's fine. That's fine. To me, you paid 4 unprotected picks, the protected Milwaukee pick, the unprotected swap in 2028. At that pick price, you should be able to be like, listen, you're gonna take Jericho Sims and you're gonna fucking like it. Because that should have put us in a position where you don't have to worry about the first apron. You have to worry about the second apron, not the first apron. We'll see. Maybe they have something all figured out. I don't know. I tend to think that if they're hard cap at the first apron, that this is not like. I think there are big moves still coming. Like, and I
They're
don't
not
necessarily
hard
mean.
cap. They're not. There's nowhere they're hard cap because if we're going off the 110% rule, then yeah, Boyan is making 20, which means that 110% is 22, and McCall is 21.
Has anybody tweeted their hard cap? And I know Yossi does his shit, but like
Fred Cass said they weren't hard capped.
Who's said
They're
they're
not.
Fred Cass said they're hard cap.
So
not hard
are
cap.
we're Team Cats now?
No,
For today?
Team
For today.
Emily.
For
But
right now?
I heard
if
that.
they're not hard
they're
capped, then
still-
none of this matters. Then it's just like, hey, OG, take money. iHeart, stop being a loser, take money. I mean,
don't know
we'll
if
see
you
what happens.
saw.
with Sunshine. I saw the Begley tweet. We'll see. I know. I don't want to talk too much about Ian Begley while Tyrese is here. It's a sore subject to some people.
Yeah.
So
still in mourning.
of getting bodied.
Yeah. Fucking loser. If he's
Wait,
wrong
wait.
about this, I swear to God, I'm never gonna let it.
But like, I think there's something coming because to me, I don't see how you trade for Mikal Bridges and you're like Dante go to the bench. To me, that just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Like maybe I'm totally wrong on this. To me, that doesn't make sense. I think you need somebody with Dante's 3-point shooting volume in that lineup. I don't know how you sell it to him. Like, hey, you're getting replaced by your good friend. I'm sure Josh Hart will never talk about this in your group DM. Like, I don't know. I just think that's a hard sell. I still like if I were Julius or Mitch, I would maybe not. I'd maybe still have a bag packed. Maybe. I don't know. I just something else seems like it's brewing. I don't. Now that they did this trade, I don't think the Mitch smoke earlier in the week means something to me. And all the like parading of Julius around and showing how much he loves New York, which like I'm sure he does love New York. I'm not saying it's not genuine. I don't know. I don't think they're done. I don't think you make a move this big and you're just like, okay, well, this is our team. I think there's still
There's something coming.
there's still something coming. Hopefully it's Anthony Davis.
I would actually start
I
crying.
would combust.
Oh my God.
Nobody wants to see that. Con.
I said combust, bro. You guys are ridiculous.
Pause, bro.
You would
Come and bust.
at the same time.
You're insane.
I mean, Con, you were kind of alluding. Who was it that said that they can still add those guys? Like, it seems like it's still an open thing if they can just add Sims and if they need to Diakate, right?
Yeah,
No, they can add Sims. Sims can 100% just be added. There's no question.
The trade is not official. Like the league office kind of like report, whatever the hell, has not been sent out. And as we know, this can come out like hours later, whatever the case may be.
I don't know. Woj is always so timely with all the details of reporting. Is he still blowing Raphael Stone tonight, by the way? Is he still just like, oh, the Rockets could trade for like fucking Wemby if they want, potentially? Like,
He's giving that talk to it.
he might be. He might be.
I
Dude,
knew it was gonna come sooner or
he's
later.
just such. Fucking hate Woj so much. That tweet, like he had this 3 fucking paragraph tweet about the fucking Pistons hiring that fucking guy from the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Dennis
Lindsay.
Yeah.
It was like I'm like enough. Like it's a fucking like really like we can't just do a normal just like hey this is a thing that happened and that's it. You got to just always get the agent sponsored tweets in there. It's ridiculous.
Well, so the
So-
Knicks hired someone from the Mavericks too. So the other conspiracy theory is he was the guy you bring in when you have a free agent center, you lock him in his house and make sure he doesn't leave until he signs. Maybe he was the master behind it.
This might be the worst joke you've ever made, Stacey. I'm sorry.
I think that's a legit. I mean, we just got a report that Hartenstein isn't going to sign, or he's unlikely to sign, just like Quickly was unlikely.
Wouldn't you want somebody from the Clippers then?
Oh, I was backwards. That's right.
Terrible joke. L.
Can we give Mikal
Can
his
you get
flowers?
that fucking Mets thing off your wall? Talking about
Hey,
winning things
hey,
over
we
here.
won tonight.
It sounds real out of place saying that when you just got rocked.
It's
Yeah.
like Garrett Cole
I literally
sucked my
don't
dick.
watch baseball. I just like to talk shit about the Mets.
Did you win your soccer game?
No, he
We don't talk about
lost
that.
because he's a
Yeah, we
loser.
lost 1-0. It was not. It was a brutal
Good joke.
loss.
Good joke.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know that he lost.
It wasn't
but
my fault. All right.
I didn't
A
know.
real team player here.
Yeah, I am a real team player on the pitch. After the game, I like to divorce myself from any responsibility of what happened.
You know what? Deflecting blame and accountability. That
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sounds-
mean,
That
Tyrese,
sounds like fucking Kevin Durant. What the fuck?
Tyrese
Quinn
is
could
a
never
long
play for Tibbs.
Tyrese is a long time Julius Randle fan. He knows what it's about.
30 FC. I'm back.
I'm joking. I don't know what's gonna happen with Randall, but I just feel like I don't
He
know
gone?
the whole Mikal thing. Like I saw somebody mention this in there. Yes, I know Dante came off the bench in college. This is not college anymore. And he started and he look. Let's be real. He won that spot. He won that spot. He was. You can go look it up. He is not just one of the best 3-point shooters by percentage, but when you combine all his volume, it's ridiculous. Like he basically was the 3rd highest volume 3-point shooter in the league last year and shot 41%. Like so, this is not just like a guy that had a nice role. This is a
This is
guy.
Klay Thompson stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he is. Yeah, he's basically Klay. He basically did a Klay Thompson. Yes. I don't know. I don't. I just feel like you're bringing these guys here. You're bringing Mikal. I think he wants to start. I think he expects to start. I don't know how you sell coming off the bench of Dante after he did what he did last year. And I'm not convinced that they want to extend Julius Randle at the number that he thinks he should be.
They absolutely don't. They absolutely don't. I'm sorry. You want to pay Julius Randle 4 years, $212 million? Yeah, right. It's not happening.
That is like your mistress, bro. You're supposed to love Randall.
You know what I love too? Defense and spacing.
I feel like this is a trade that says not only are we okay with not getting a second star because we're okay with Randall, I also think this is them saying we and Coach Tibbs are more okay with playing those bigger guys at the 2 to 4 spot balls in the lineup with Hart, Bridges.
I just think this totally
playing Randall.
undersells. I just think it totally undersells how good and how valuable Dante is in that starting lineup. Like I just do. I'm sorry. Like Mikal Bridges, who I will now retroactively pretend like I've always been a huge fan of. I mean, I think everybody here remembers me talking about how I've always coveted Mikal Bridges. Me and Tyrese. I'm pretty sure we both have talked extensively about that.
Tyrese, I respect you quote tweeting your 4 picks tweet about Mikal Bridges.
I will always roast myself if I get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Equal opportunity roasting.
But like, I don't know. To me, like the 3-point volume you lose is significant, and the best version we saw of Julius involves him not shooting a lot of threes this past season. Maybe he like ups his 3-point volume again. I just don't know how you keep adapting to a guy who it's weird because I think it's like commendable that he's constantly evolving his game, but I don't know if that's always in lockstep with like how the team is perceiving him, or if they're constantly like, okay, I guess Julius is like doing an inside out thing this year, so we're gonna need to get like we can't have Quentin Grimes lineup because he's scared to shoot. Good luck to him in Dallas if that happens, by the way. Fucking loser. But like I don't know. I just, to me it feels like people are assuming Mikal just comes in, Dante goes to the bench, and everything is good. And I just feel like,
I mean, is it a bet that Mikal can improve his 3-point volume, given that he's shown to be a capable shooter?
Nope.
I mean, Dante wasn't at
not
this
at that level.
before
Not at
this
that
season.
level. No, he's not even close to his skill.
But does he need to be
Yes.
Klay Thompson
Yes.
for the lineup to work? Because
Yes.
Brunson is pretty fucking good. Like,
Okay,
if you have a
but-
very capable shooter, which I don't think it's crazy to say Mikal could be that,
Mikal,
but he gives you more
He's
creation.
never been that.
He's a 37% career 3-point shooter, mostly on spot ups, not running off screens, not taking deep ass fucking crazy threes, like not taking the difficulty of threes that Dante DiVincenzo was taking last year. I'm sorry, I'd like
Dante hadn't done it as much earlier in his career before coming here. Certainly not to this level.
Hear me out.
Dante has always had a range, though. He's always had a range.
He had deep.
Mikal has never had a range like that, and he never will have range like that. And even if you compare the 3-point volume before, it's not close. Like Dante's been better than him as a 3-point volume shooter. And Dante's career is just weirder because he got hurt in like the year he was supposed to kind of like take the leap. And then that cut into his 4th year, and then he had to do this weird like internship in Sacramento for half a season.
Yeah.
And then he went to Golden State, and I guess like he played with Steph Curry, and he was like, "This is pretty cool. I guess I'll just launch a lot of threes and be good at it. I should try this more often." And then he came to New York, and it's probably the one team in the league where he'd have the confidence to step in the starting lineup, and he's got Jalen Brunson there being like, "Shoot the fucking ball, bro. Shoot the ball. That's what we want you to do. We don't want you to do anything else."
Oh, I think this right here from Judah is like I brought it up earlier, but this is massive for this trade. Like, I think between losing iHeart potentially, being more comfortable playing Randall at the 5 on offense while OG plays the 5 on defense.
Yes.
Not having to thrust in a rookie center, right, into that backup role. All 3 of those things tell me Randall is going to see time at the 5 or OG, however you want to phrase it, with a lineup of something along the lines of Brunson with Hart, Bridges, and OG and Randall. Those 5 guys, I can almost bet my life on that they'll be out there because I don't think there's a more competent answer at the 5 than going small with those guys and kind of flip-flopping between Randall being the 5 on the offense and OG being the 5 on defense.
All right. I got a stat. Here's a stat. For their careers, okay, the lowest 3-point attempts per 100 possessions Dante's ever had were his second year in the league with the Bucks. He shot 7.4 threes per 100 possessions. The highest Mikal Bridges has ever had in his career is 7.5, which was last season with the Nets. I'm sorry, like the gap between these guys as shooters is massive. It is significant, and I just, to me, and Dante's on an upward trajectory as a shooter. Last 2 years, he's upped his volume consecutively and shot a higher percentage. Like he's just on a different path as a shooter. So to me, I'm sorry. I think if you're starting lineup, if let's say they come back and it's, we're basically just bringing back the guys that are free agents, and that's our team. I personally think that Brunson, Mikal, OG, Julius, we'll see if iHeart comes back, whatever, or Mitch, whichever one. I think that's way clunkier offensively than when Dante's at the 2. I just do. I think that gravity that he has off the ball, and not just the gravity, but his his ability to get off the volume of threes he does is a major component of what made that team dynamic offensively last year. And I don't think you get even a reasonable facsimile of that from Mikal Bridges.
I don't blame you for that. I have 2 points I want to make, and then I gotta hop out of here. One, that was Dante's best shooting season of his career, and obviously, anytime you have the type of historic shooting season, it's probably going to be one of the best of your career, unless you're, Wardell Curry. What if Bridges sees the easier shots of his career and he shoots 40%, and Dante just isn't unconscious for the entire season and he shoots about the same 40%? There's always going to be a difference between them two in attempt rate and all that stuff, but I could see their actual percentages being the same. And it's not going to be a thing where like Dante is only playing 16 minutes now, right? Like we're going to have 2 sixth men on this team between Hart and between Dante. I think it affects Deuce a lot more than it'll affect Dante. And I don't think it affects anybody besides him really, because like I said, I think we're going to go potentially 9 men with Randall playing spot 5 minutes next with OG. And if you want an actual 5, you could play the rookie for small spurts. That'll be it. That's my clearest kind of assessment of the team right now, and we'll see what happens.
Bring back Precious, right?
You could bring back, yeah, of course you could bring back Precious. And I'd be in favor of that, to be honest. But
I think Precious is almost guaranteed to be back, given.
Yeah, I mean, we have his RFA rights, right? So we can match whatever contract. Not that he'll even get a super big deal, but we are what continue to be one of the biggest teams in the NBA, and I'm sorry, but like that is nothing but a positive to me. So there you go. I am gonna hop off, carry the stream, guys. I'll still be listening, but I got to do a project for work. So I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, I gotta hop off too, guys. But
let's go, man. Get these fucking losers out of here.
The Schwinn and Tyree show.
Yeah, that's what people are here for.
Yeah, I get yelled
Let's
at.
go.
That'd be great.
Tyrese and Schwinn.
Get the fucking white guy out of here, which is perfect. Let's get this. See?
All right. Me and you, just how it started. Yeah, my thoughts about this trade, just like to sum it up in general, I like Mikal Bridges as your third guard, but I don't know how it fits. I still think you kind of need Dante's spacing. I don't like him being like your second or third best shooter. So I think you need.
You're talking about Mikal.
Yeah, I don't like him being like your second or third best shooter.
I don't mind if he's your if he's your third best. It's fine. It's not
if he's your third best, that's fine. But like your second best shooter, I don't like that. I don't think he fits
here's the. I guess this would be the counter to what we're talking about. So maybe we're a little bit too like 3 point per 100 possessions pilled. The counter would be, obviously he was overtaxed last year as a primary shot creator. That was blatantly obvious. Do we think that because he would be potentially, let's assume they keep Randall, he'd be like the third kind of shot creator in the lineup? I don't know. Maybe apparently OG is going to be really upset if he is lower in the totem pole. But if that's like a thing, then I mean, could Brunson benefit because he'll just be off ball more, and so he could get his volume up? Like, I don't know. Like that's probably the caveat. And I do think it's fair to also mention, like, whatever Mikal's limitations as a shot creator, he would have been our second best shot creator
in the playoffs
after Randall went down last year. He would have been. So there is a value to that, even if
it's
me personally, like I don't really love him as a second shot creator, but the fact that he can step up to that in situations and maybe for extended stretches at times does have value. And I don't think Dante, for whatever Dante did provide, he just could never create. You couldn't just run pick and rolls with Dante. I mean, how many pick and rolls do we even fucking run with the guy? Probably not that many.
Yeah, not a lot. It's just like a lot of Dante's shooting is when he does like create quote unquote opportunities for himself. It's just like quick ass pull up shots or like just running off movement and stuff. I really just keep coming back to Randall and Mitch because I'm like, how do those guys fit? I feel like you're looking at this team, you're looking at like what the ethos of this team is, and those guys stick out like sore thumbs. But it's a matter of like, do you, if you don't think Hartenstein's coming back, and it sounds like Hartenstein's not coming back, first of all, do you get anything for Hartenstein leaving? I'm skeptical about that.
Well, you won't. What would you get? Like, because
Yeah.
a team that signs him is going to sign him into cap space. They're not going to.
I mean, I think the only teams that can sign into cap space right now would be the Magic and the Thunder. So
the Thunder one to me. I'm sorry. Like, if he leaves, I could see Orlando just because.
I can't see Orlando because Orlando's offense is garbage and they don't have shooting. So you're going to spend what?
They have like 40 something million in cap space.
I think it's lower than that, isn't it?
Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. Somebody in the comments here has any idea, let us know. But like, if they have cap space like that, they could do both, right? They could add him. And the other thing too that I mentioned this earlier and I kind of poo-pooed it because I'm like, I want to keep Hartenstein. But like they can move guys. Like they have contracts that are very movable if they need to move and create cap, or if they want to create cap space.
Also, by the way, iHeart had the Magic has 33 million in cap space.
Yeah, but like they can. So I mean, not that they will do this. I don't think I would be shocked if they did this, but like they could just non-guaranteed, or they could just trade Jonathan Isaac because his guarantee date isn't until like January. So I don't think they'd have to guarantee that to trade him. I think I don't know how that would work. But even then, like I'm sure some team would be like, cool, guarantee 17 million, send us into our I bet you Philly would do that in 5 seconds. Okay. Yeah. Give us Jonathan Isaac. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that for you. If you need iHeart and you need to go get more shooting. And honestly, let's be real. Jonathan Isaac's capped there, right? He's gonna play what, like 25 minutes a night max? Like he just doesn't, and maybe that's best for him because his body obviously breaks down all the time. But I just if the Magic desperately needed to create cap space, they have avenues to do it. He's one. They have another. They could just non-guarantee Joe Ingles. That creates like 12 million cap space. They have paths to create more. So if they did want Hartenstein, and forget the Begley thing is whatever. Woj also indicated that Hartenstein's market might just be difficult for them to kind of compete with. Yeah, well, in that case, like, it is what it is. I don't know you can trade Mitch then. You probably can't unless literally it's like the pipe dream idea of
Cheer
LeBron. Yeah, no, cheer down. I don't know if I'd call that a pipe dream, but it would be an option. But like, if LeBron's like, hey, guess what? I still think the LeBron thing is very weird. Like he has said and done nothing in the entire offseason, basically, which is, I don't know, isn't that like what he did when he like left Miami? And like, I don't know, I find that very weird. Odds are he probably still stays in with the Lakers because that's just how shit works. But I find that interesting. And if LeBron were to bounce, if he were to go somewhere else, then I do think Anthony Davis immediately becomes something you talk about. And I also I don't know if you saw this, but like all the comments that JJ Redick and Pelinka made at their press conference were like, we need to develop talent and we need to like have a pipeline. And, we don't think we need to get, we need like 7 or 8 guys. We don't necessarily need, a super. I don't know. I just found those comments interesting because I just feel like if I'm LeBron, forget if I'm LeBron. If I'm LeBron, I'd probably retire by now and just be like, I'm happy. I'm good. I have a lot of money. But from LeBron's perspective, when we know about him, he always thinks that like they should be trying to get stars, right? Like they get us another star, get us another star. So I found that interesting.
What up, Sam?
Hey. Well, that was an interesting.
And he got his professor glasses on too. He's fucking serious today, dude.
No, I literally just like woke up, so like I'm just trying to adjust to everything. Like that's like the first thing I saw once I woke up on my phone. But I mean, my thoughts are it's an overpay, of course. But I think the Knicks are at this point in their building of a team, of a contender structure where they kind of have to do moves like this at this point just to like maintain some sort of like roster flexibility. I mean, we knew they were going to use Boyan. We knew they were going to use these picks. It was just a matter of who was it going to be for. The Mikal stuff just really kind of came out of nowhere because I never really expected the Nets to do business with us. But hey, 4 first-round picks will make a team do anything, I guess.
Yeah. Shit, for 4 first-round picks, a lot of teams would jump. So
I'm kind of surprised it took them this long to really trade Mikal, though. I mean, I guess they finally realized that Spida is not in their future, and they really didn't have anywhere else to go, to be honest. So it was just a matter of Mikal finally having some balls and saying, hey, get me with my boys in MSG, and the Nets finally pulled the trigger.
Josh Hart might be Tamper of the Year, of the decade. Like,
I still don't get the Nets. Like, I don't know how I'm not even sure if I'm still figuring out how I feel about this trade, but like,
same.
I think I still would rather have my own draft capital back for Mikal Bridges than the Knicks draft capital. And then like they did this other trade with Houston today, but they only got their 2026 pick back, right? And the 2027 swap, is that right? I think I have that right. But like they still owe next year's pick unprotected, which I think sucks in a lot of ways for them. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Well, maybe the Knicks will suck in like 6 years. Wouldn't be the first time the Knicks would let me down in life. I'm prepared for this. We're built for this moment.
My favorite part of all this is, of course, all the shitty Knicks takes that come out of every single move that this team makes. But yeah, I mean, I think it seems that the team won't be able to retain Hartenstein, or at least that's what the appearance of it gives right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, if Hartenstein leaves, like you kind of don't need to worry about like they should be able to avoid any apron concerns that might exist.
Okay.
They can also
I'm still wrapping my mind around this whole apron stuff, and then the Knicks making this move. It's just like, great, I have more things to wrap my brain around.
There's definitely a lot going on. This is an interesting question. Would Randall, this from Jack Goldstein, would Randall and Mitch for Paul George make even more sense now if it's possible, assuming iHeart is back?
Well, if iHeart's back, then yes, but I don't think iHeart's back.
I don't even know even if iHeart is back, though, I don't even know if they can.
Legally, they can't. Legally, they can't do it anymore.
Wait, why?
Because like you, what? It's I'm pretty sure that's not enough money. I'm pretty sure they would be hard capped at the first apron.
No, they wouldn't, because if they make this trade, like, hey, throw Jericho Sims in the trade, it'll be really hard for me to watch Jericho Sims in a Nets jersey, but I think I'll get over it. But like then they would just be hard capped at the second apron, right? So I don't know what the math is. I'm sure our good pal Jeremy will do a stream, and
I'm pretty sure it would be less than Paul George's option number. So if that's the case, then you can't make the deal work, because then you would be hard capped at the first apron. Or if you're taking back more money than you're sending out, that means you're hard capped at the first apron.
All right, there you go. Let's do it. We figured it out. We did it. Good job. Good job, Tyrese.
I tried.
My favorite thing out of all of this lately is people apparently seeming to care about loyalty. People are saying that Mikal Bridges is a loser for demanding a trade. But I mean, hey, we've seen worse players demand trades. So
we saw Furkan Korkmaz demand a trade, bro. Okay, like this shit just happens.
I just love how people like seem to care about this loyalty angle. As soon as it like comes to a player trying to get his way to the Knicks, but
why you want to be loyal to gentrification? That's what I want to know. What is there to be loyal about to the Nets, bro? I'm sorry. I love you love Barclays Center. Like you really rock with.
There's nothing really redeeming about that franchise at all.
You loyal to Cam Johnson, bro, and Cam Thomas.
Oh, they broke up the twins. Oh no.
Oh no, you
will
you
be
loyal to
so-
Sean Marks, bro? Like, come on. What are we doing here? Oi, mate, I'm Sean Marks, and I don't know how to fucking build a team. Like, that's what you're loyal to? Come on.
Did you like combine like an Aussie accent and an English accent?
I don't
Yes,
give
he
a-
did.
Is that
Yes,
what you did?
Point being, like, there's nothing to be loyal.
Isn't
about.
he? Isn't he
Australian.
from? Is he Australian or is he from New Zealand? Are we sure?
He's from one of those two.
Doesn't matter. They're the same thing to me.
Technically from the same continent.
Yes.
Technically. He's from New Zealand. He's from Auckland.
Oh
He's
man.
a Kiwi. He was a Kiwi, brother.
Well, I wanted the Knicks to make a move, and they finally did. We'll see what they do.
I think there'll be more moves. I just can't imagine that this is it. Also, it is. I mean, I'm sure the Nets were like not exactly like, no, you got to give us one of your 2024 picks in this deal. But it is good that they have two, and they have three actually, right? They have the second round pick too. So I would be very shocked at this point if they don't at least draft two guys. If not,
Yeah,
And we assume one of them will be a big.
Kalel Ware, come on down.
Ware, come on down. Vez Missy, come on down.
I think it'll if they want.
Zach Edey, come on down.
I think he'll be gone. I can't imagine they get it.
They probably have
I
to
think-
move up. They probably have to package some picks to move up if they really want Edie.
I mean,
what picks?
we got the Detroit pick, we got the Washington pick.
We got the Detroit and the Washington pick, and we have our 2024 our 2026 swap, I think.
I'm like very. I don't know. I guess like in some ways though they must. I'm sure they already know what's happening with Hardenstein. They already have to know, like because
Yes, we've seen enough from this team to know that they have plans. They have contingency plans. Like
not just that, but like even if Hardenstein's not going to tell them where he's going or whatever, they're probably like, listen, man, we need to know by like the draft what you're doing because we have to make moves based on that too. And I'm sure that he would have been like, okay, cool, I'll let you know. So if they pulled the trigger, I don't think it's a coincidence they pulled the trigger this close to the draft. And I don't think it's a coincidence that both Woj and Begley are tweeting like, you know, prior to this trade happening, all the smoke we had heard from both, or at least from Begley and from Scotto and everybody that's been reporting this stuff is that they thought, you know, Hardenstein was going to be back and they'd be fine. So for that to change that quickly probably indicates to me that he is gone. And I mean, I think Mitch is probably staying then because I don't think you can afford to trade him at that point. I don't know. The Randall part is interesting. I don't know. I'm not totally convinced that he's like definitely here. Maybe that's just wrong and they will constantly keep playing the game of like, well, how valuable is Julius Randle to us exactly that we've been playing for like his entire time here.
Which is
but
going on 5 years.
Yeah, it's this year 6 now. This is the 6th year.
Jesus.
But like I don't know. I still feel like that is not ironclad at all. Mitch, I think, is probably not getting moved now. But I do wonder what the smoke of like, you know, Mitch, whatever. All that stuff is interesting.
The Mitch thing is interesting to me just from an injury standpoint thing. Like he's been someone that's obviously been injury riddled, and Hartenstein's been someone that stepped up in his stead. So it's very interesting to see what the dynamic is going forward, especially if Mitch is going to be the center going forward, and like what is the backup plan for like when he goes down. Because it is something that happens almost every year. So, and before in years prior, we've had Hartenstein to lean on. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do now.
Yeah.
Because like, do they lean on the backup center market? What is the backup center market? Like who are the? That makes sense why the smoke was there for that now.
I mean, honestly, like if you're gonna get a Goga Batazde, I feel fine, but it's either gonna be Goga or Precious. I feel.
I mean, it could be both, right?
Yeah, they're both gonna be relatively cheap. And
I
Precious was
would
on the big
I'd be
screen
really-
today at the Mets game. So
Oh God.
He saw Garrett Cole get a fucking shellacking. It was great.
good job.
I thought you were done
pitcher
watching
that
baseball.
was
I thought you were done watching baseball in
that
April.
just came back from
Harry.
injury.
What happened?
Okay, whatever. You saw You guys fucking hyping up Cy Young shit. All right, whatever. He lit up a fucking. He saw a Cy Young get lit up. It was great.
I did not see that, but he did. Congrats to him. I'm sure he wasn't paying
Talk-
attention.
I'll talk about Precious Achua, but
I
hey,
highly doubt he. I mean, he's from the Bronx, so just throwing that out there.
I'm sorry. Grimace got me back in. Okay, maybe I was lying. Grimace got me back.
Dog.
What a couple in a row. I was like, all right, I'm sold.
But yeah, I mean the Goga smoke does make more sense now if this is the moves that the team is making. And
I mean, I'll be honest. I like Goga. I think he's a solid player, and I actually don't. I don't fully understand what happened with him in Orlando this year because I thought earlier in the year he was. I mean, I know Wendell Carter was hurt, but I was
Mhm.
like, weren't all the like on off like all the stuff was like Goga's actually better. Like he's like they're better with him than Wendell Carter. But then Wendell Carter's getting paid actual money, so it's like the weird thing you have to do where you're
politics.
Like, well, yeah, I don't know. Goga would be Goga. I'm definitely I would be like a. Like,
It'd be very funny having Goga now, especially after all the back and forths he had with Brunson this past year
oh my God.
in
But,
those
like,
games.
Well, I just think it's interesting because like I don't look. I think losing Hartenstein is a big deal.
Definitely,
Definitely a
That was
big deal.
Amazing.
So I'm
EPM
not.
God.
I'm not trying to minimize that, but I do think getting.
You can't soften the
Goga.
blow.
Yeah, I think getting Goga is like if you're going to lose him, he's probably one of the better guys you could get. And as far as center stuff goes, I just like other than Jericho Sims, who is a special man,
Is Jericho Sims.
is special. Like the Knicks have been able to kind of
Shout out to the offseason tape from Jericho Sims.
they've been able to get like good value out of the centers, regardless of who's played out there. I mean, they got like solid play out of Taj Gibson for fucking 2 years. They got Nerlens Noel. They had him have like he had a fucking career year, his first year with the Knicks,
And then he fell off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, so I don't know. I definitely interested.
Dibs is like the big man whisperer, so like whoever we have, we know we're gonna get production out of them at the very least.
No
So
question.
I really don't know what the fuck this team's gonna do, and that is strange because this team's usually been pretty formulaic, and it seems like Leon Rose has kind of put his nuts on the table. He's not a coward anymore, which makes me feel good. So, no more fucking asset accumulation over here, baby. Fucking kicking the can down the road. The can is here. The fucking Chef Boyardee can has come home.
This is from Eric Pincus. Just taking a look now at the Knicks' potential approach to the Nets trade. On the surface, it looks like they would trigger a first apron hard cap, but that's just going off the names reported. Final deals tend to grow slightly. Say, for instance, the Knicks decided to move off a bigger contract like Randall or Robinson to another team. Perhaps there's potential to fold two deals into one to avoid taking on more in than out. Then he just kind of then he says this. There's the question of the 2023-24 trade in June or 2024-25 after the moratorium. At issue, Bogdanovich is declining, so his outgoing salary for the Knicks is $25 regardless. Never mind, that's not guaranteed. That can be amended. Complicating aggregation issues for the Knicks during the offseason, teams can only pad a deal with one minimum player. So if they're taking back fewer players, so Bojan plus 2 minimum for Bridges looks illegal. So like Bogdanovich, Jeffries, and Diakite on July 6th equals $23.77 million, which looks like enough to take in Bridges. However, it's 3-for-1 with 2 minimum players, and that is now illegal outside of trade season. Bogdanovich plus McBride works without one.
Leave Deuce out of this.
Something. But that's beyond the scope of the reported trade. I wouldn't consider McBride a throw-in. So unless there's also a plan to move a big dollar player, I'll go with the initial working assumption of a 1 apron hard cap. If that's a working assumption, New York could pay OG and Achua combined $39.5 million and still get to 15 players. More if it's 14. More if they trade away other prospects. More if they trade away other people. But I can see why Hartenstein becomes problematic. So they might just be like, we just can't keep Hartenstein. And even if they might have just made the calculation, they would rather have Bridges than Hartenstein. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it. If they're like, if we can, you said 39 million.
39.5.
Okay, so if it's 39.5 million, you can probably get Precious. I mean, that's probably more than Precious.
You can give OG a 5-year, $205 million contract. The starting salary on that would be something like just under 35, and then you can give
34.9.
Precious, 34.9. You can give Precious fucking $4.5 million starting salary, and like that's you're good. You're fine.
Yeah, then that would be your team,
Yes.
Interesting.
especially with the draft picks too, right?
I'm assuming that Pincus used the picks. I'm assuming.
Okay, yeah. So if the draft picks stay chalk, then yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't even. They don't need. I think you need to have like 12, right? Actual, like you need to have like 12 guys on the roster.
Yeah,
so they could choose to be like, well, we're just gonna have 14 guys this year. If they trade up, let's say
Teams have done that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's things they can do. I would probably not be too worried about this hard cap thing.
yeah, like especially with Aller, I'm not worried about them tricking the hard cap or anything like that. It's just a matter of like what other moves are they gonna make. If this is this the only move, or are they gonna like? I don't. Yeah, that's interesting. Like it really just comes down to is Randall safe, or are they gonna trade him? And I think if Bridges is, I mean, I'm not saying that they're even value players, but like I think a large part of the CBA is you're looking at these deals where guys are getting underpaid or paid below market value. And if you feel that maybe you could retool using Randall, the fact that he's making $29 million next year is pretty valuable to like a team that wants to have like an all-star and be decently competitive. So it could be interesting to see what they do with that.
The Clippers where my left says Clipper. I'm assuming this is in response to what the Knicks would do with Randall, by the way, which I think is funny.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
that's my guy.
Randall's your guy now? That's crazy.
Nah, I said my guy. Clippers run my life. That's my guy on Twitter.
Oh, is that him? He's a great account. Everybody should follow him.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
He's funny. He's funny when he's talking about Paul George and shit.
Yeah, Paul George, his favorite player.
Hates Paul George.
Definitely his favorite guy. Give him a follow. It's very entertaining. I'm not joking. It's some of the best clips we'll see out there.
But yeah, Tyrese, what happened? Randall was your guy, and then
I don't know what you're
George
talking
was
about.
your guy, and then
I don't know what you're talking about.
What happened?
Paul
Paul George is not going to be our problem now. Get out of here with that.
Chill. It still could happen. I'm not holding on faith. I got the Erica Badu line.
You know what? Because the Knicks seem to like love getting wings that I like make tweets about shitting on. So yeah.
Well,
we're definitely gonna do it.
I'm sorry to inform you this. We already figured out earlier in this pod that now that we've done this trade, PG can unfortunately not be our problem anymore.
I'm so hurt.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
He is going to be either Philadelphia or Orlando's problem.
I think
we have no aura.
I just think he ends up staying in LA now because the whole Warriors.
He has no market.
The whole Warriors thing was such bullshit to me because it was like they're gonna.
The Warriors don't want to make trades.
Well, but they're gonna trade him in the division. Really? Like that's what they're like. No, I don't see that.
And also, the Warriors like are dead set. Mike Dunleavy loves his young core. Loves those guys.
I just think they've called his bluff. They're like, I don't know what they offered him. I haven't seen any solid reporting on this. Maybe I'm wrong. My guess is because they gave Kawhi 3 years, 151 million,
52 million,
52 million.
Fucking
so they probably came in substantially lower than that for PG, and he was like offended or whatever. The other reporting has been that he wanted a 4th year guaranteed, and based on the fact they gave Kawhi 3, I bet $1 billion they've not offered Paul George a 4th year guaranteed. And I'm just like, I think they called his bluff. They're like, look, this is the number we're comfortable giving you. And if you want to take that number, it's here. It's on the table. You can take it. But we're not budging off this, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I know that report came out from today where it was like, oh, Paul George's preference would be to stay with the Clippers on a 4-year deal. He's not getting a 4-year deal. Nobody's giving him a 4-year deal. So I don't know why.
He might. Somebody might, but it's not. He's either gonna have to compromise on the average value of the deal or the length of the deal. He's not gonna get both, and he has to understand that because
he's not that guy.
Well, he's also older. Like, I'm sorry, teams don't want to fucking pay you a 4-year, $200 million deal.
How old is he? Like what? 34, 35?
34.
34. So he's gonna be like what 38 by the end of like a 4-year deal. Like, yeah, no one wants to pay a 38-year-old Paul George, whose game might age well, but I mean, this guy's also a guy who doesn't play a lot of games per year. Like, what I want to say off the top of my head, this year was like the year he's played the most games since like what 3 or 4 years
Fucking
ago
Indiana
or something.
He's
Yeah.
never. This is the most games he's ever played in a season for the Clippers. I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So like, you're a guy who doesn't play much to begin with, and then you're aging and you want 4 years. I understand wanting security, but you also have to be realistic. And also, this guy's talking about he's looking at Stephen A. Smith film for his podcast. So lets me know where this guy's head's at.
He's gonna be hanging out with Sean Hannity soon.
He's looking at his broadcasting career. Clippers Ruin My Life says last time he played this many was OKC. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since he's played a lot of games. But yeah, this is very interesting. Draft tomorrow. So Tyrese, you're the draft guy. Who should the Knicks be looking at now?
Well, I don't fucking know anymore. I mean, like, they're probably gonna get a big. Yeah, I assume they get a big, but like,
It's interesting to hear the names that they brought in for like second workouts and stuff like that.
I think they'll take a big. I don't know what they do. I thought they were going to take Ryan Dunn because I thought they were going to get another wing, but I don't see Ryan Dunn have a pathway to minutes here anymore. So now,
yeah, he doesn't have a pathway to minutes. And it seems like from like what the last report I saw was like he's like playing himself out of the Knicks range, if anything.
Which is probably cap, but like,
yeah, we've seen that before.
I don't know what the hell they do now. I mean, I think for sure they get a big, and that's all I can tell you.
They at least make one pick, probably.
They make both. I think they make both.
Hmm.
Honestly, they might make all three.
Hmm.
I can see them just going, okay, we'll sign whatever second round pick we get to the minimum, which is like starts like $1 million or whatever, like something.
Yeah,
really...
the second round thing is good for them.
Yes, so I can see. I can honestly.
The Knicks are known to find value at any spot, so
I can see them make 2 second round picks. I wouldn't be surprised if they made 2.
They buy one.
No, I think they're not going to take 4 guys. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'm saying they might trade back from 25.
They would love to. I just think it's a hard draft to trade back in from where they are, especially. But I think that there's reporting.
It depends on who's behind them that wants to move up.
There was reporting today that they wanted to trade up. That they had been I forgot who had it. That they had. I mean, it was Fisher. Fisher.
He talked about sliding up into the teens. Very weird phrasing.
Yeah, maybe.
Fisher just said that they're going to re-sign Hartenstein. I don't want to hear shit about from Eric fucking Fisher.
Jake Fisher.
Jake Fisher?
Eric Fisher was a tackle in the NFL at one point. But like, if they trade up, then I think I could see them buying a second round pick or acquiring one somehow. Like I do think I think they're definitely going to come out with 2 guys from this draft. 3 wouldn't surprise me. They also have Rokas, like who they might want to bring over. Maybe they have a way to do that. Like there's things they can do. So they're not like it's crazy kind of like that they gave up this pick haul, but they didn't
for the player that they did it for too.
Yeah, that's its own thing, and I need time to.
Yes.
Comprehend that.
Dog. When I woke up and I saw that tweet, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I literally got done playing my game, turned my phone on. I was like, "Why do I have like?"
Especially
why do I? What? Because
I have messages from people saying like, "Wake up" and shit. I'm like, "Dog, what?"
No, but you like the craziest thing is like because you have that if you have all these apps, right, like Yahoo Sports, the Athletic,
yes.
ESPN. So I'm like, why do I have like an Athletic notification? I have an ESPN notification. I have a Yahoo Sports. Like, what happened? Did something actually happen? And yeah, lo and behold, something actually happened. But they still have picks to move. Like they still have a lot of second round picks they can make moves with, and they have. This is why I don't think. It's like, well, we got Mikal now, and even if Hartenstein leaves, we just run it back. I think there's more stuff coming.
It's just a matter of like who do you trade, and if more stuff is coming. I think you probably trade Randall. Because that's where I'm at. I'm like, I think if more stuff is coming, you're probably trading Randall.
Well, not just that. It's also like if We have no idea. There's been absolutely no reporting on this of what Randall even wants in an extension or what the Knicks have offered him an extension. There's been nothing, like absolutely nothing. So
The
we
only
don't know.
the only tidbit we've heard is like, oh, Bagley like surmised that they might not extend him, or like if he wouldn't get an extension. So
Well, if he doesn't get an extension, then I think they're going to trade him because I just don't think they're going to be like, we'll just play it out.
yeah, they're not like that's what I was saying. Like you have to extend him this offseason or you're not extending him because it's too risky. Because if he has a good season, then he holds you over a barrel and he gets like 5,300. So that's not happening. So but I don't know who they're gonna get. That's my thing. I just don't know who they can realistically get. Like, are we gonna get nasty and get Clint Capella?
Ugh. Don't speak such things into existence.
Clint Capella makes too much money. That won't work.
I mean, for Randall,
He makes. I think he might make. How much does he make? Capella's
22
like
million.
33. Is it 22?
Yeah.
Why did I have 33 in my head? That's so weird. I mean, that would be so. They're not going to. The Hawks aren't going to do that. They're not. They're going to be like, no. They have Jalen Johnson. They don't want to have Randall there, and like, I just don't see that. And like, Capella's an expiring anyway, right? So you're not even like benefiting from this. Like, it's not like you're like. I mean, look. Can I just? Is it that crazy to think that like OKC would be like, we just take him, like we just take him into space, and like,
Yeah,
we'll give you one of our
Wait,
like
what?
bullshit first that we have. 'Cause we got a billion.
OKC just taking him into space.
Taking who?
Randall.
Julius.
I don't think that's that crazy.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm just somebody's gonna have to take him. Somebody's taking him. Then I'm just OKC makes a lot of sense. Who else has cap space for him? It's OKC and Utah.
Doesn't Orlando? I mean, not that they would want him. I'm just saying they had the cap space.
Well, I think Orlando is probably gonna get Hartenstein. So
yeah. I'm just saying, like theoretically, they would be a team that has the cap space to do it. The Spurs. Well, not that actually, honestly, that'd be kind of.
Spurs don't have enough.
Are you sure?
Spurs only have 21 million.
But they can create space. Like they
Yeah,
are
they can
definitely
create
able
it.
to.
If they
create
traded Devontae Graham, they can create space.
Damn.
And
I don't know if they'd want to give up
that's-
Devontae Graham though.
I know, but I doubt they're gonna trade Devontae Graham. Rather, like I doubt they're gonna do what they need to do to like dump Devontae Graham. I don't see them making.
What if they were just like, we'll give you? Don't they have like they have first from other teams, right?
Yeah, they have Chicago first, and they have Boston
So what-
first.
Yeah. So what if they just were like, we'll give you like the Chicago first and Devontae Graham for Randall?
Then how does that like? Then you still need a center. That's kind of where I'm at.
Who needs a center?
The Knicks.
Yeah, but they would probably then have access to like their mid level. If the Knicks do that.
Yeah, I mean that would work.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like I just don't think like there's too much shit that's still up in the air that anybody that's like definitively giving you like this is what the trade, this is how I feel about the trade. It's too soon. It's like there's so much more shit that's gonna happen in the next week in all likelihood. And until we kind of see where like the big moves lead them, I just think it's too soon to judge it. On the surface, like I do think it's an overpay for Mikal Bridges. So that's what I think. But I could also come out of this week on like next fucking Tuesday by like July 4th, basically, and be like,
Hey,
we're a contender. This is fucking awesome. Fuck the picks. Fuck them kids.
yeah. Honestly, I mean, honestly, it would also be hilarious if Julius Randle gets traded to fucking San Antonio. I'm like, I can't escape you, bro. I can't fucking escape you. Could be in fucking AGP. Julius Randle shopping.
Yeah, but then you could like love him again.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I messed up. I gotta act like I haven't fucking tweeted about it for the last week and a half, calling him a shitter.
You've been fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's actually
You've been
gross.
disgusting. This is like at least like when the Knicks trade for Mikal Bridges, we all have to like pretend that we all like that's understandable. Your fucking shift on Randall has been disgusting.
It was like a pre shift.
He started it in the Discord before. He's just like, oh really? We want to keep Randall? I was like, wait, what?
Is this Tyrese?
Yeah, who? Is this you?
Tyrese was ready to build a gold statue for this man a couple years ago.
couple years ago.
A couple months
Fucking-
ago.
Yeah, fucking like 6 months ago.
And then he was all like, "Oh man, PG, yeah, we love this over dribbling fool."
Whatever. When they were traded for like fucking Yusuf Nurkic or some shit like that, then like
That's not that'd be actually that'd be kind of funny because as like annoying as Nurkic is, he was like weirdly one of their most
Good.
important players last
he
year.
was really good this year.
Yeah, he was also just like really important for them because their fucking backup big was Eubanks, who's awful, just terrible. That would just be funny because it's like that's actually a team where I'm like, what? How do you play with one basketball with this team, actually? But who knows, man? According to Woj, the Rockets could trade for Kevin Durant or Devin Booker or
That tweet following the Mikal Bridges tweet was just like a back to back. Like,
fucking
what
they
the
could
hell?
they could trade for Wemby. Who else? Maybe they could probably trade for like prime LeBron and prime Mike too. Now that they have these picks, so who knows? They got so many options. Just ask Woj.
See, all right, so like the NBA is so wild because I see a trade like this and I'm thinking back to the Caruso Giddey swap. Then I'm also thinking back to what Boston gives up for every single great role player that they get on their team. It's just like this is very interesting the way I guess players and like all these different things happen to get across the league.
Mikal's market was. I mean, I'm sure they were not bidding against themselves here. They're bidding against other teams, and they're also bidding because, like, there's a tax. The tax is like, hey, we actually fucking hate trading him to you, so like that's the tax you're paying. It's very funny though that like he denied all year, like Josh is just talking. He just likes to talk. And guess what? Josh,
oh yeah,
Josh,
I don't really want to be on the Knicks. I love being on the Nets.
Josh was right.
I love being with my teammate Nicholas Claxton. We got the weirdest tattoo possible this last couple hours.
What did he get?
You didn't see the tattoo? He got punk on his lips on the inside.
Yeah, grown man getting a lip tattoo. I would have loved to.
I think that was what made Mikal finally demand a trade. He saw Nicholas Claxton's inside the mouth.
He's like,
punk
we're gonna give this
tattoo.
guy $25 million.
I just Josh Hart's like, come on, bro. Come on, just do it.
Josh Hart just sent him the tweet of Nicholas Claxton's tattoo, and he was like, question mark?
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, we got some questions here though.
Yeah. I'm gonna step out for a little bit. I'll be back in a bit.
Okay. Jordan Bob, he says, how do the Knicks match up versus the Celtics next year? Right now, it's Jalen Brunson, Drew Holiday, most likely Mikal Bridges, Derek White, OG Brown, Randall Tatum, Mitch KP.
We are getting our ass torched in 6.
I don't know, man. That Randall Tatum matchup is going to be a battle of the bricks.
Brother, it is Julius Randle in the playoffs. We're not making it that far.
Hey,
in all honesty,
hey, man.
like,
Celtics just proved you could win with the CTE, man. So
yeah, but they had CTE and 5-out spacing. We just got CTE. Matter of fact, we got double CTE. Mitchell Robinson got CTE.
yeah, as long as we're not throwing him any lobs, I think he's good.
We're not gonna throw. Oh my fucking god! God, McCall Bridges throwing a lot to Mitchell Robinson. I actually might just throw a brick in my TV. That shit might actually break my TV. I think the Knicks are a deeper team. In all honesty, I don't. Again, we'll see. As it stands right now, the Knicks are a deeper.
How long is Horford's HGH supply gonna keep running?
Yeah, but it's really comes out to Horford's Balco. If Horford's Balco is like running out, then I think the Knicks win in 5. And if Porzingis can actually like get through a playoff run healthy, which I'm skeptical about.
Yeah, but bro, this guy has still proven that he can't stay healthy for an extended period of time. So that's always going to be a question mark. And the fact that, like, I think it matters that the teams that the Celtics played, I mean, Celtics fans, they all claim that the hardest matchup for them was the Pacers. And I think that is kind of telling of the state of the East and why the Knicks made this move. Because the Bucks, they seem like they're going to be retooling. I mean, they said that outside of Dame and Giannis, like basically anybody's really kind of available to be moved, and we don't know what pieces they're going to bring in, how well they're going to mesh with Giannis and Dame. That's a really aging squad over there. And then with the Sixers, it's like, okay, are they going all in for Paul George, or are they just going to like run it back in a weird way without Tobias Harris and just kind of focus on like a bunch of other wings and whatnot in the free agent market? So I mean, the Knicks, when you look at the landscape of the East, it makes sense why they made this move. But yeah, I think the Knicks do still offer up the best matchup to the Celtics. Even without this move, I thought we gave them the best matchup, because just seeing what this team did in January, like that was real. And yeah, I think the team does match up pretty well against the Celtics. I mean, we'll see how things play out in the regular season. We'll see how things play out in the rest of free agency first to see like what the rest of this team looks like. Because I mean, some of these pieces could still change.
There's another move coming for sure, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, draft night is tomorrow. We've seen a lot of big things happen on draft night, especially for the Knicks in recent years, where they've made significant moves in terms of like moving up, moving down, whatever it may be. So there's still that, but I think even still as currently constructed, they still give the Celtics their best matchup next year. Health, all things considered. It's great that the Knicks made that move to get that guy from the Mavericks, that health guy. Because if we're going to be relying on OG remaining healthy down the stretch, we're definitely going to need someone like whoever that guy is, who seems to have really good medical history, whatever it is.
Yeah, I just cannot believe the Knicks actually made a move, and it was this kind of move. Like, damn. Also,
Yeah.
low key, Kyle Lowry. I didn't even think about that. Kyle fucking Lowry. Apparently, fucking Jake Fisher, as I so aptly misnamed. Kyle Lowry's even been mentioned by NBA figures as a target for New York in free agency. Since they solved the backup wing issue, yeah, that makes sense. If you want to do like Kyle Lowry being your backup point guard, I don't hate it. You got to load manage your backup point guard, but I don't hate it.
Is that a version of Horford?
Yeah. Where it's like, if the ball goes right, we're winning the chip.
Bruh, if I would like to just have him just so he doesn't annoy the shit out of us next year.
Honestly, like all the players that annoy us, like TJ McConnell's
getting extended, so like that is already he's getting extended, so that's already out of the window. But if we can just get Kyle Lowry, just for the simple fact of him not being a pain in our ass next year, I will just be happy because of that. And of course, everyone will love, we got another Villanova guy. The Knicks are just doing the whole Villanova thing. So
you know what? Honestly, we'll get Kyle Lowry so that way he takes Melo 7 and we never have to bring him up in the history books again.
Right.
It'd be
Oh my god.
That's what I need. I need us to remove Melo from the history books.
Oh my god. What did Melo do to people for people to hate him so much? This guy still, fat. This guy still sings the Knicks praises, still comes to all the games, like,
I'm sorry, if Brandon gets traded, that podcast will look so hilarious in the light. That podcast with fucking Melo. Also, my tweet would be absolutely true, by the way. Nobody loves this city more than NBA players in contract negotiations.
I mean, yeah. No, but it's gonna be very interesting to see what the Knicks do. What else we have here? Was that Jake Fisher thing literally just now?
Yeah, he just released it. I think his latest.
Kyle Lowry definitely saw that all his Villanova dudes was in one spot, and he's like, you know what?
I mean, Josh Hart recruited him too.
I mean, they've all been boys, of course, for a while, so it was only a matter of time till they got him. I wonder if Arcidiacono is going to pull up too. This is just going to be insane. You know what? Jay Wright, do you want to come be a special advisor? They love handing out those special advisor roles to coaches and shit. So Want to be a special advisor to the Knicks? Just bring everybody in. Why not?
Ryan Archidiakono, Jay Wright, Amari Spellman. Come on.
Oh
now.
hell no, no.
Amari Spellman actually started it
Mm.
all up for us, which is hilarious.
He really did.
Yeah, he opened the door.
That big tub of lard.
Colin Gillespie, we can bring him in. Sadiq Bey coming out the infirmary with his torn ACL. Come
That's
on.
actually Sadiq Bey would actually be like a interesting. I mean, if we're not in that stage of building anymore, but I think other teams might take a gamble on Sadiq Bey.
Oh, stop. He's ass, bro.
I know, but he had a 50-point game, so that means something to some people. David Goodman, he says, I think they gave up too much. I also think they're a contender. Both things can be true. Just like the OG trade made us better, but I hated trading IQ. Yeah, I mean, the Knicks have a tendency to just make these moves for players that I genuinely am not as high on as the general consensus. But if the Mikal trade can end up making me look as stupid as the OG trade did, then whatever. If we end up starting the season like 20-0 or whatever, I won't complain.
If we end up starting season 20-0, I'm gonna get reckless on the timeline. So I will be using ats and various words, choice words.
Juan, we talked about this Jordan Bub question, but I don't know if you want to address it as well. But he says, how did the Knicks match up versus the Celtics next season, as currently constructed?
Well, I think they match up well. Thought they matched up well before this trade anyway.
Same.
But I just don't think this is going to be the roster. I just think that
Yeah, we also said that too. We think that there's probably another move to be made or so. And we also talked about the Jake Fisher thing. I don't know if you saw that. He said that something about the Knicks that we're targeting Lowry.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's get all the Nova guys here. I've always been like a get Lowry. I like that. I like that the Knicks are just like, you know what? If this is what
they're just gonna buy into the gimmick.
Yeah, you know
Nova
what?
NCAA.
Yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is.
Wait, is McCall CAA?
Let's get Jay Wright on staff too.
I literally just was like, yo, let's get Jay Wright in here as like a special advisor or whatever. They love handing out that title to anybody.
We can sign Amari Spellman to a G League contract.
Yep, we actually mentioned Amari Spellman.
We literally just mentioned Amari Spellman.
No, he's Bridges is he's Schwartz.
But yeah, I mean, we were saying get Lowry here just for the simple fact that he cannot be a pain in our ass next year. Like just for that simple fact.
And I also like I had people say this to me on Twitter, at least in a reply to one of my stupid shit posts after this trade. But like if this results in Brunson being like, yep, I will sign that extension now.
Worth it.
Okay. I don't know if that's, but it can't be baked, or you can't like, this is how I felt about when people were trying to like say the draft night trade we did in 2022, like, well, that's separate from like signing, Brunson and Hartenstein. I'm like, I just don't agree with that. Like, it's just, they're all part of the same thing. Like, I think your off season is basically your off season. I think that's like a kind of joint together thing. And that's why, like, I think this is an overpay. If the Knicks did nothing for the rest of the offseason, I would be like, I am a little bit apprehensive about the team will still be really fucking good, by the way. Like, there's no question about that. But I'll be a little bit apprehensive about their ceiling and their long-term trajectory and all that type of stuff. But I just don't think this is going to be their final iteration of what this roster is. So I would, to answer the question, I think the Knicks match up fine, but I don't think these will necessarily be the matchups to go. And I will say, like, you look at the players they've been targeting, they're all like very ancillary type, not even necessarily ancillary, but guys that can like scale up, scale down usage to some degree, play on, play off, have value aside from like your value as an offensive hub. And I think Julius has done an amazing job throughout his time in New York of like adapting his game to various things. And he's become, I mean, look, if you told me when the Knicks signed him initially that he would be a fucking 3-time All-Star and a 2-time All-NBA guy, I'd have been like, get the fuck out of my face. So, been a really successful signing, but I don't think he is in line with the type of acquisitions they've been making now for the last couple of years. And given the extension status, I mean, I hate to keep harping on this. I think to me, it still feels like he could still be the odd man out. That's what that feels like to me.
Well, I mean, they're going all in on this Villanova gimmick. He's definitely going to feel like the odd man out in the locker room.
Look, but I've genuinely like. I think we even talked about this after like our series. Like, I was like, no, I'd be fine with them bringing in Kyle Lowry. I think Kyle Lowry is like, he's 100% at the point in his career where he like gets it. Like, he's not.
He knows he's not gonna like. He's not gonna be like demanding minutes or anything like this at this point.
And you know, they all talked about it. Like, I think during that series, like, I think Hart, he said he was like he's like their big brother, right? Like, he like, and you know, like, I know it is kind of a gimmick, but that stuff, like, it
matters.
The college alumni thing, like, that is a real thing. And so
Knicks really trying to win the championship off the power of friendship. Yeah,
like, I don't think it's look, if generally speaking, when guys are tweeting stuff like that, like whatever Fisher tweeted, I have no idea what the hell he tweeted. I'm not gonna look it up right now either. But like, when you're getting that stuff right after a trade, there's usually some type of kernel of truth to it. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. I will answer this question, the last Celtics question I'll be taking on this podcast. From Hawkeye 420. Schwinn, how did your dad feel about the finals win? He felt great. It's very annoying talking to him the last few weeks. I feel no joy for him. And I'll put it this way though, like, the fucking Boston teams have won way too much that he can't even, like, you know, this was like a fucking, it's like, oh, it was nice, it was really cool to like do it. And I was like, really? That's the reaction I'm getting? Like, get the fuck out of here.
It reminds me of that video of those people that were watching the Celtics win and they were just like yawning and like giving each other like really lame ass high fives and shit.
That was like the Barstool thing, right?
Yeah, they were just like,
yeah,
good job.
We did it.
In
the famous words of
Jason
Tatum, we did it. We did it. We did it.
But here we have an updated mock draft from Jonathan Givony after the Mikal Bridges trade. He has the Knicks taking Khalil Ware at 24 and Terrence Shannon Jr. at 25.
I would be okay with both those. Khalil Ware's, I funny enough, like, one, I will caveat every draft pick I ever have with letting everybody know that I know nothing about the draft. But I know enough to ask people that know about the draft. And funny enough, I have talked about both Khalil Ware and Terrence Shannon Jr. extensively with Prez over the last couple of weeks on our pods. And based on what he's told me, I would like both those picks. And the Terrence Shannon Jr. one is pretty interesting. Obviously, we know that he was acquitted of the crime he was charged with. And in his case, it seems fairly resounding that this was not just like
not substantial evidence or something like that. It was like this person was lying on him.
Yeah. Whatever, we're going to leave that there. But
yeah,
Terrence Shannon Jr. is a guy that can come in. I think he's 23. He's just under 24 years old. He's somebody that if you're taking him because you project that he can come in and potentially give you rotation minutes if you need him to. Now, given the status of the Knicks rotation right now,
he won't.
He would,
but
not
if he's needed to,
he's needed to. And as we know, the Knicks will probably continue to make trades at a later point. Now, that might sadly involve some of the Nova guys not being Knicks anymore, potentially. And in those scenarios where you trade Dante to get a center, whatever it is, you would need a guy like Terrence Shannon Jr. to be able to come in and play. And he has, theoretically, if he is what people think he is, he should be able to do that. So
That guy can put the ball in the basket, man.
yeah, and we know that the Knicks have generally tended to like to prioritize your ability to play, to do something at an NBA level, to be in a rotation from day one with these later picks, especially. I mean, they've only mostly had later picks, but that's what we have to go by. So yeah, I mean, I would be fine if those were their picks.
And he's a parlay respecter.
Is he? I mean, yeah. I mean, he played a lot, right? I mean, I would love if they could get Zach Edey. I highly doubt they'll be able to. But yeah, I mean, these are all guys, like those two guys are dudes. And I would imagine if they take Khalil Ware, they have as good of intel on him as any team in the league, given that Mike Woodson is the coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, and he obviously got to see him up close and personal for a year.
There's a lot of concerns. I've not only seen this from Judah Benchar, but I've seen this from other people in terms of, I guess, like motor with Khalil Ware. I think with the Knicks in terms of that, I think it's like you said, they would have the intel from Mike Woodson, but I also think that they kind of know the guys that they want, and like they know like if like a guy is like, I guess, like low motor or whatever, like I guess they would know what to do to get him.
I guess what I would ask is like, does he have a low motor or so inconsistent motor? So this is what I would ask, and I don't know the answer to this because, as I've made clear, I don't do any fucking thing for the draft. College basketball, tough sport to watch. Is he an inconsistent motor, or does he lack attention to detail at all times? Because I think those are different things. Inconsistent motor is you're not competing all the time. Lack of attention to detail is you're not necessarily locked in mentally and reading the game all the time. Like, I don't think Jericho Sims has an inconsistent motor. I think Jericho Sims has very bad mental understanding of the game. And
it'd be more like inconsistent feel.
So that's what I would posit would be why people that think they would draft Khalil Ware, I would suggest that would probably be why.
I also love the name Kal-El. Very Kryptonian. Love that.
It's definitely a name. It's definitely a name. I and the more names we get that can challenge Clyde, I'm for it.
Yes.
Khalil.
I'd love the Kal-El Superman reference that he'd probably eventually learn to make at one point or another.
Khalil Ware, Mike. Ubiquitous.
He says, well, Kal-El Ware his freshman year definitely had shitty effort. This year was more of a mix of the two things you said, Schwinn, in my opinion. Yeah,
so I mean, I think that would be like the argument for why they would potentially take him. And I mean, his tools are pretty legit. He was a super highly valued recruit coming into his freshman year of college. He was somebody who was projected to go like top 10 initially that year. Obviously, he had a terrible year in Oregon. I think they as a team had a terrible year. Transfers to Indiana. If I remember correctly, Indiana actually had a decent year this past season. He was a part of that. Again, they would have the intel from Mike Woodson that I don't think necessarily every team would have, and maybe he wouldn't be as forthcoming. Like, I think the best way to think of it is if they take a guy like Khalil Ware, you can assume that they got a way more forthright review of him than a lot of teams, because coaches will tend to not necessarily be totally truthful about their own players when they're talking to NBA teams, because you don't want to fuck over your guys. Obviously, you want them to go get drafted well, and that's good for you as a college coach. So in this case, the fact they have a personal relationship with Woodson, on multiple levels, I think that would probably indicate that he gave them a very strong signal about what he is.
Yeah. He also says, I bet a lot of money if the Knicks draft a big, it's Filipowski, Missy, Bona, or Edey.
Filipowski's a guy I know Prez likes, and the way he talked about him made me like him. So sure. I don't know it. I don't know much about. I've 100% asked Perez about Missy, and then totally zoned out when he was talking about him. Bona can't say I am familiar with the name until just now.
Who's the one that they brought in for a second workout that someone posted? We posted a highlight mix of them to I think today or something.
Sorry, say that again.
Who was the guy that they brought in for a second workout? That
Mogba. something like that.
Okay.
Pogba,
He's a big,
Paul
right?
Paul Pogba. That's what they brought in.
He's a big, right?
He's a 4 though, I think, not a 5.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny they made this trade because I do think the things they do in the draft might be telling about what subsequent moves we could potentially see. The last thing, I mean, not to go back to this, but the way this trade is basically being calculated in the new league year, so in the 2024-25 season. I think that's interesting because, like, I wonder if that gives us a little more insight into just necessarily like if that's being calculated in the new league year. I just wonder if like what they do in this draft. I just think it might give us a tell on like what could be happening behind the scenes here with other guys that are still on the roster or that they'd be looking to acquire and stuff.
Bona was at UCLA, I believe. I think I saw some of his tape. He's like very high energy, big, does very similar things to Mitch, I believe. So we know the Knicks typically have a type with the bigs. I think it's described in the parent test as a power running big. So
rim runners. Yeah. We'll definitely see. I'm very I look, whenever your team makes a big move, it's always an intriguing time. So we'll see how the next pivot from here.
Yeah, I mean, draft is literally today. I will probably be drunk out of my mind because it's the last day of school. Finally.
Oh, that's right. That's why you can't do the stream because you're fucking bum and you're not locked into the grind.
Nah, I'll probably pop in if I'm
real toasted.
Not if I'm real toasted. If I'm still conscious enough.
Day 2 and 2. Got to catch a couple of Cam Thomas games. Still once in a lifetime opportunity. Cam Thomas is in heaven, by the way.
He is going to be. He's licking his lips right now at the fact that he can average about 25 shots per game now, 30 shots per game.
I mean, the weirdest thing to me is like the Nets still they don't have their pick next year, so they're still not necessarily like motivated to. They're not motivated to tank. Like there's no motivation for them to suck next year, but they traded Mikal, and you've got to think like if you're trading Mikal, I don't know if I'm them, probably like, why do I want to pay Claxton, who apparently got the dumb? I gotta find this too. This is ridiculous.
I retweeted a tweet that talked about it, so you can find that.
Yeah, is this somebody that we want to give $20 million to a year?
It is definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's see this.
Dude,
are you fucking kidding me? Why? Bro, he tweeted this out. This happened 4 hours ago. Mikal went in there and was just like, listen, bro.
I don't know what's going on here, but I don't want any parts of this anymore.
Yeah, no.
Jake Fisher says that he didn't even demand a trade, though. So I'm like, what's all this talk about him demanding a trade then?
I don't know if he the way the verbiage of it is all weird, where it's like he indicated to them that he wanted to be in the Knicks, and he was also willing to like wait and not sign with anybody else. So it might not have been a demand, but it might have been like, listen, bro, I want to go to the Knicks, and I'm gonna make that happen. It's gonna happen one way or the other. You could do it now, get a lot of stuff, or you could just not do anything. His verbiage is so. Mikal Bridges didn't request a trade to New York, but after the Nets gave teams like Houston and Utah a growing sense Brooklyn moved Bridges. The Knicks made an offer the Nets couldn't refuse. All right, whatever. Where did he say this Lowry thing in the piece or something?
Probably because we aggregated.
Yeah, here it is. These Wildcat connections run deep, and Kyle Lowry has even been mentioned by NBA figures as a target for New York and free agency, sources said. That's what he is in the piece. So I'll read the piece later. I'll probably read a lot of pieces later because I'm not going to write any.
I hear that.
Paul Guy 420 says, Begley said he did, and Fisher said no. Nets told Fisher, Knicks told Begley. Yeah. I just think it's probably like somewhere in between where he didn't outright demand a trade, but he was like, if you're going to trade me, I'd really like to go to New York. And by the way, I'll tell other teams I'm not going to re-sign with them. Like maybe one of those situations. So they maybe didn't necessarily demand a trade to the Knicks, but made it very clear like that was his number one priority to get to. Either way, nice to be wanted. Nice to be wanted.
I assume this is gonna start some sort of a fire sale for whatever role players have some semblance of value on the Nets.
Well, it's just weird because they didn't. So they did this other. I got to read it because Woj, man, this guy today was on so much crack. The fucking shit he was tweeting today was.
Bro,
so
he's doing lines today because he has a big day tomorrow.
So this is. Oh, okay. So they do control their own pick now. Okay, so this is the trade is Brooklyn they get the 2026 pick back from Houston.
Okay.
For a 2027 Phoenix first. The Rockets also acquire the 2025 right to swap Houston and OKC first for the Suns 2025 first. We'll see if that matters at all. And then Woj then quoted this tweet, which to me, it feels like this is like the most important fucking part of the entire thing. Most importantly in the deal, per sources, Houston relinquishes the right to swap a Houston OKC first-round pick for Brooklyn's 2025 first-round pick. The Nets control their own pick as they go into a full rebuild, especially important in talented 2025 draft. Why that's the second piece of information, that's the most important
That should have been like the leading line. Especially with Cooper Flagg being the possible number one pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I feel like that's kind of a big deal right there.
Apparently the 2025 class is really good. He also said this, as intrigued as the Rockets have been about Durant, they're determined to use the Suns' picks to be aggressive on deals elsewhere now.
Hey, Suns, you want your picks back for Kevin Durant?
Yeah. Phoenix has made it clear that they want to run it back with this group, and Houston is seeking a major upgrade now. What does that fucking mean? Like,
the West is hilarious.
But he just said this entire thing of like the Rockets are, they're determined to use this. Like, it's all kinds of fucking shit. He's just spouting off, man. Ridiculous.
It's like he's trying to carry water for like multiple teams all at once, but he just like his mind can't like wrap around it fully.
Yeah. Well, he also had this. He was like, the implications of the Rockets landing the Suns picks. Houston wants to trade for Kevin Durant, and that becomes far easier if they can return the Suns picks if they give him the Durant.
This guy's trying to strong arm Kevin Durant to the Rockets via tweets.
Can I just say, I don't understand this trade for the Rockets. I mean, I guess it's weird because they're probably like, I guess
they're just doing them a solid.
It's weird because once they trade Mikal, wouldn't you just be like, no, actually, now I really want to keep this Nets pick next year. I don't want to give up that swap right at all. So that's definitely something. I don't know.
Oh man, fun times in Knicks land.
The NBA. It's just always
the NBA, where the off season is more entertaining than the finals.
Oh my god, the off season is so much better than the finals. Good lord.
What is this league turned into? Oh man. But hey, I ain't mad at it, especially if my team's getting better in some aspects. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Yo, thanks everybody that's been in here. I haven't been here the whole time, but if you were here the whole time, thank you. If you were in here for any part of the time, thank you. We appreciate it. Super chats, I think, still exist. So if you want to give a super chat, we're always welcome. We're doing a live stream tomorrow for the draft. Check that out. That'll be on playback, but we should have that hooked up on YouTube also. If you're not on playback, please get on playback. It's easier to interact with us that way on that stream. So if you do that, and it's free, you can sign up for playback for free. There's no fees attached. So
Yes, I may join drunk as hell, so tune in for that as well.
yeah, and I might progressively get drunk as hell on the stream. Who can know? Who can say for sure?
All right.
All right. Shout out to our sponsor, Bet Online. I'm sure Tyrese did the ad read. I'm sure he did that. Fucking scumbag. Thanks, Bet Online. You're the best. You're the best. We love you.
Oh man.
Wouldn't be able to do this without you. All right. Everybody have a great night. I'm sure we'll have much more to discuss as the days go along here and as we get closer and closer for agency. Hopefully we get a Woj bomb sometime in the near future that OG Anunoby has agreed to blah, blah, blah with the Knicks. That'd be fantastic. And we can all move on with our lives. All right. That's our show for today. Good night for me.
Good night, folks.
Peace.